Welcome into another Tuesday night evening blend. I am Pop Blender, and with me is Matthew Matson. And Matthew Matson, we're going full screen, is holding up something you guys need to be watching. And if you get a chance, get the graphic novel or the novellas. But and I've been on a search for the graphic novels. I want to get them, even though I've been watching the show. And yeah, there you go. Obviously, talking about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, or Dunk and Egg, as some of you may refer to it. I know I do sometimes. Matthew, what's going on, man? Good to see you
Good to see
again.
you. Yep.
Every Tuesday. Just got done watching a few goofy guys go over toy news, some big toy news. I'll go ahead and ask you the question. I know there's some people in the chat that'll roll in that may miss this. Not whatever. Did you get your pre-orders today?
Well, I just got to say, happy Fat Tuesday, everybody.
Holy moly, you're right. And I just ate, so I'm feeling a little healthy right now. I'm not gonna lie. Did you imbibe on the Fat Tuesday pre-orders on Hasbro or wherever you get your fine toys?
I'm letting most of them sit there. I think they're going to be available. So,
Okay.
if I get a chance, I'll get them. But I believe I do have several coming in this week from the current wave that's being released today, right, or tomorrow, right?
Right.
So those are shipping out soon. Have some on the way now, and by Thursday, I think I'll have some more. So,
Sweet. I,
um,
I know for those that maybe don't know what we're talking about, because there are some people who will tune in, and I appreciate anybody and everybody that tunes in and listens to us as the show is already in progress. And we'll hit up the chat here in a few minutes as I see a few good names here. Yeah, so pre-orders for a new G.I. Joe classified line went up today from Hasbro, and hot commodity, right? The last few years.
did you see what else was announced for GI Joe today?
I did, and I'm going to bring it up
Okay.
if I think it's what you're talking about.
Yep.
Is
Probably.
the Kickstarter?
Yep.
Okay, so I have it saved. We'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. I do
Awesome.
have it. Do have it saved. So anyway, so the figures went up. I went in on a few. I didn't go in on all. I may surprise some people. I'll probably discuss more of that tomorrow night with my
Yeah.
cousin on Sevens Wild on Three Star Draws channel, because that is a G.I. Joe centric stream. We do cover pop culture, but we do talk about figures and stuff here and there. And
I will tell you that all the figures that went up today look like great figures. I'm excited for people to get them. They look pretty awesome. So
okay, I like to hear that. There's a couple I don't have an attachment to, but obviously, and behind me, and it's a little cluttered. I need to clean it up a bit. I need to maybe rearrange. But I do collect the GI Joe classified line, as most people that roll in here do know that. Yeah, man. So that's the only line I collect. But I've been passing on some lately. Been picking and choosing, trying to be a little more judicious in my
yep.
choices.
Yep.
And so yeah, I didn't get them all. Got a few. Like I said, can't wait to talk about it tomorrow for sure. But I wanted to bring it up with you, obviously, as well. Is
Yeah.
there any specific names that you want to tell anybody that you went ahead and pre-ordered, or did you just say, "Hey, I'm gonna wait and get them whenever I want"?
So I think I mean honestly, the Don Moreno one that went up the other day, I did that one. Um, Sundown is pretty cool, so I'm actually kind of excited for him. Um, the the Royal Guard, I did pre-order the Royal Guard, um, because I think the options on that guy are so awesome, and I love Cthulhu stuff so much that he's going to work with a whole bunch of stuff that I like to shoot.
Okay.
Um,
I
so
did pre-order. I did also pre-order as well. Wow. I just want to, I don't even know if I can share this with you guys. StreamYard just said that YouTube rejected my comment because it said that they think it's spam, and my comment was to Stanley Eberhard, who said he's battling the crud. And I just said, oh no, Stanley. And then after that, I said, I hope you feel better soon. And my comment got rejected by YouTube. Something weird is going on with YouTube, folks. My YouTube was
Yeah.
down. My homepage was down. My feed was down. I was watching
So
Circle of Jerks, and I could watch the stream. But if I went to my homepage and I tried to do anything, it wouldn't let me do it other than search specific channels or go to my subscriptions. It was really weird.
so I will say that after you said that, uh, after Circle Jerks ended, it started being a problem for me a little
Okay.
bit. I could get around it, and it would refresh, but I did see that screen pop up a couple times. But then I could refresh it. But when I was watching a video, instead of the normal "this is suggested next for you" type of thing down at the bottom, it was
Right.
blank. And I looked, and there's no update on the YouTube app yet. And I didn't get a chance to reset the app, but there is something funny going on with that. StreamYard and OBS and YouTube have both been having problems lately with the chat. So if you guys are chatting away and we don't notice it right away, sometimes it's because it doesn't load into StreamYard. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that that's happened with StreamYard. I think that's just an OBS thing.
Yeah, so I don't use OBS. I'm straight StreamYard for this show. Most of you guys do that as well. However, yeah, YouTube doing some freaky stuff. Now, look, I was told in the chat, a Circle of Jerks, hey, reset your phone, give it a shot. That worked for me. I did it. It actually did work. So if that's happening for you, maybe reset your phone. I can't guarantee those results.
Yeah.
Results may vary, but yeah, really weird shit for YouTube. And people think, the world is ending, right?
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how like addicted we are to our content and our
You know
phones.
what? I've got some
Like
I've got some
that.
research studies we can talk about that goes into that kind of detail about how Gen Zs are smooth brained now uh, because of digital learning. People have testified in front of Congress telling people that 2 hours of screen time reduces white matter in your brain for children as their
Man,
brains are developing, and digital learning has literally lowered the IQ of our population because you literally you can't learn that way. You can't learn well that way, and your brain doesn't develop.
Matthew, I got to tell you, I think it's not just the younger generation. I think it's all of us actually has lowered our IQs, and not maybe intentionally from their end. From our end, it's not intentional, but it's just like it's so easy to get used to something and used to something very quickly. And of
Yeah,
course, we all consume, streaming channels and YouTube obviously being the biggest one. And it's just a go-to. It's a go-to whether you're in the bathroom, whether you're at the
yep.
DMV, whether you're at Kroger, the grocery store. It doesn't matter. Like it's what we do. And without it, man, we are lost, bro. We
Well,
are
but I will
lost.
say that if you do this before teenage years, you do serious harm to your brain. And the research is out there, and it's available now. You can look it up.
Totally believe it.
They're proving it that if you're a teenager and you adapt it, there's differences that you can make. But without all five senses being connected with learning, your brain doesn't develop properly.
Well,
And
I think as we move into the future, not to cut you off, I just wanted to say as we
no, no,
move
no,
into the
yeah.
future, I'm worried that idiocracy will become
Oh yeah.
it is the prophecy and will be the reality in 100 years or less at this at this pace.
Yeah.
We might be facing idiocracy sooner than later. Luckily for most of us here, that will be later on as we have moved on into worm food and such and so on. Not to be dour, okay? But it's reality. Like I deal in reality. I don't deal in fantasy unless it's my GI Joes and my comics.
And we're
Damn
talking
it,
about ninjas.
we're talking about ninjas. I don't have the lovely slides, okay, the West Virginia Ninja that my cousin likes to bring up. I don't have those. I don't have those Ninja stars, but we all know him. We all love him. Okay, so I just want to reference and bring up a few people like Eric Thurman out on
What's
the West
up?
Coast. What's up, Eric? Good to see you. If you ain't first, you're last.
No, no. If you ain't
Uh,
first, you're moody. Come on.
oh, damn. Well, You would fill in those blanks better than I would. I'm referencing an old
I
ESPN
know, I
movie that
know.
had Dale Earnhardt. It was the story of Dale Earnhardt Sr. And the other famous
Rubbin's
quote.
racing.
Yep, Robbins. And the other one was can't win no money on dirt, boy. And yeah, if you're not first, you're last. Also, war chest full of toys. What is going on, brother? Good to see you, buddy. Making that money. I know that. Clint Jorgensen is here. Can't wait for your Toy Fair reviews. Again, that will be tomorrow night, 100%. Matthew, it's something I would go over with you here, and I know there's people that are totally into that. And if you want to, I have no problem doing that. It's whatever you say the word, man. I have no problem bringing up slides, going to a website, bringing up pictures, man.
I,
It's
I
usually what
think
we don't do
right, yeah. I
because
think the
everybody gets their
topic's been
fill.
talked to death. Yeah,
Yes, agreed.
it's been talked to death. My biggest disappointment from Toy Fair was that Jada Toys was supposed to be there and they weren't. Uh, you
Oh
know,
shit,
as of
that's a big bummer.
if you searched Google and the website, it said that they were there until Saturday, and then after Saturday, boom, they're gone.
Any
They weren't
message,
there.
any word on X or anything like that? Why they
the
weren't there?
my
Why
the
Jada
only
didn't show up?
speculation that I have is that I believe they're I think it's WonderCon or something. They are scheduled to go to a convention that caters more to their base, which is the
Okay,
diecast car thing.
okay.
And that's in March. So that's the show that they're head towards.
Saving up.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
But for the action figure community, they've got a lot of questions to answer with the Scooby Doo line
Yeah.
and some other upcoming lines that they've got. So,
Speaking of Scooby Doo, I do have some Scooby Doo news here in
oh
a
boy.
minute that we'll take a look at. Shane, Same Time Toys, man, great dude. Good to see you, buddy. Always. HK Viper, what's up? William Emery, good evening to you, sir. And then, as I said earlier, Stanley, hopefully you feel better soon, man. There's
Yeah.
nothing like the wintertime or springtime crud.
Oh yeah, everybody's got it right now.
Yeah, dude. Nashville weather, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yep.
And so you'd think, oh, well, all the trees are bare. Pollen on a warm day in this city crushes you, dude. It's
Yep.
got me, got my son. Tony's Figs just got done watching that lovely bald fellow. Good to see you, Tony. Always, man. That's one of the good guys in the Tony toy community,
Yep,
for
for
sure,
sure.
without a doubt. And I agree, Eric. FOMO causes collectors to pay a premium for figures. I see it in chats every time I turn on a stream. Uh, Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions. How you doing, Turk? And then quickly highlighting this. William says, never seen Game of Thrones. Do I need to watch Game of Thrones before I watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? And I'll let you
No,
answer that.
absolutely not. There's a
Nope.
lot of people that love this story above all other George stories because there are three novelettes that combine to make one novel-sized story, and it's self-contained, and it's engaging, and it's a hero's journey, and it's uplifting, it's
It's
positive,
fun. It's fun.
it is fun,
Yeah.
right? And this is like no other George R. R. Martin story that he's ever told. Yes, there is so much lore and history steeped in these episodes that they play reference to everything in A Song of Ice and Fire and House of the Dragon. Um,
But
and
it's not required.
but it's not
though.
required.
It's not
No,
required watching.
no,
You don't have to watch those shows to
no,
enjoy this one.
absolutely not.
That makes it
You're
accessible for people who are
right.
like, do I need to watch 8 seasons of, no,
No,
no.
you're going to get a lot more of the references and everything, but I think it's probably almost better to go into this not knowing any of that stuff,
I
not
agree.
knowing the world at all, because then you won't know what to expect with it. Because there was one particular scene that happened early on in this show that if you had watched Game of Thrones, you were thinking one thing was going to happen, and then when it doesn't, it's a shocker. It's a huge shocker to you. Now, not knowing how the world works, you may or may not know or be worried about that situation happening or not happening. But either way, it's a new experience. So it's an interesting watch, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the best things on TV right now, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And there's only one more episode.
Yep.
I do feel
For this season.
for this season. I do feel like I think this is great as a binge watch because the
Oh yeah.
episodes are so short that
Yep.
you really can get through it pretty quickly. But I have enjoyed watching it week to week because there's not a lot going on, and it gives us something to talk about.
Yep. And
That's
I
for
will
sure.
say the penultimate episode does exactly what a penultimate episode is supposed to do. It is intense. There are some lulls in there that people complained about, but we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah,
it's super intense and it does its job. Unlike what HBO did to House of the Dragon last season, they took away 2 episodes, and so you didn't have a penultimate episode. The
right.
season just ended, and
Yeah,
it was really dumb because there was a whole arc and momentum and important things that happened in those 2 episodes that were cut off that messes up the next season. So I don't know how they're going to work all that out, but
yeah, and depending on the budget as well.
yeah,
I will say this: Night of the Seven Kingdoms, not a huge budget. You
no,
won't notice it. It
yeah, no, it
doesn't
looks great.
matter. Yeah,
It looks awesome.
it does. Todd C, what's going on, buddy? They're always coming after me. I can tell you that right now. I have a feeling sometimes when I enter into a chat on some shows, some streams, that like there's certain people in there that are like, oh no, like, all right, what are we? All right, what is he gonna say? What is he gonna say next? I don't know. We'll see. Just I really feel that, and I can definitely feel it sometimes with either the non-responses or the responses sometimes. But hey, yeah, they're coming for everybody.
Mhm.
Let's see here really quickly. Just want to make sure I get down with it. Yes, and I know you've obviously been down through here. There he is, Frank Dooming you. What's up,
What's
Frank?
up, Frank?
Good to see you, buddy. And then,
Three
man,
star popped in, just got here.
there he is. There he is. And then
I
maybe
did want
that's
to shout out to
there.
Tony for a second and
Hell yeah.
say, man, I'm so jealous about that Akuma guy, but he's on his way, so I should have him shortly. He looks like the best Jada Street Fighter that they've made yet. But that I'm also going to be kind of biased because this is the number one figure I wanted from the entire line. So
That line has to have been a good feeling for them,
it's well
right?
for them for fans
Right.
because they are 9 months away from completing the entire roster for Street Fighter 2, which no other company has ever done.
And there's no signs of slowing down.
And then they're going
Doesn't
on to
seem like it.
alpha. It doesn't seem like it. I mean, they're going to make use of that tooling. So I really wish that I had been able to get the SDCC exclusives this year for Dalsim and Bison, but other than that, this line has been phenomenal, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy that it's out, and I'm happy for the fans that are getting the entire roster.
Right? Which then leads to crazy photos and stop motion and whatever else that we like to look at. Akuma is one of War Chest's favorites. And
Yeah.
Eric said they're sold out at GameStop, had to reorder. Yeah, no, it just seems very popular. They do look fantastic. It's not a line that I have, but obviously finally know the games. But yeah, no, they look great. They look great, and the
Yep.
effects they come with and everything are fantastic, and been surprisingly have seen them consistently at Walmart
Mm-hmm.
of all places. At
Yep.
Walmart, like you can actually find some of them in the wild. Those first earlier releases, but you can still find them if you haven't gotten onto that train.
Yeah. The first two waves you can generally find parts of them. You can always find a Chun Li or Fei Long at most of them.
Yeah.
Ryu is a little bit harder to find some days, but
Holy moly!
all right.
I don't know if you could hear that or
Yep.
not.
Yep.
Good God Almighty!
That was loud.
Yeah, and not supposed to play. I
Right.
was not supposed to play. Evidently, I saved something that was not supposed to play. But yeah, give it your best shot. It was leading into the
Fire
first
away.
thing. First thing I wanted to bring up with you as we say, hey to Evil Dookie, what's going
What's
on, brother?
up?
And War Chest also says people who take care of chickens are literally chicken tenders. Dad joke coming in, dad joke.
What's up with the dad joke? Come on.
So, I had to bring this up. This is not something that I think you're aware of, but I wanted to bring it up because Disney's done it again. They've done it again. They've struck gold with a property. They've struck gold with a cartoon, and
Just remember what month it is.
just remember what month it is, folks. This is a real thing. This is on Disney Plus. I will play a little bit of this show for you so you can get an
Oh
idea what
gosh.
this is. This is a superhero called Captain Durag.
Whoosh! Zoo! Take that, dirt! Da, da, da!
And there's our hero, Captain Durag. This is a real Disney Plus show for Black History Month. They have introduced a cartoon called Captain Durag. And look, I know a lot of people. I say a lot of people. Hasbro sent me some divers, a diver 2-pack, and they gypped me on the heads that came with it. They some of you might know that story. I may
Never
tell it
give it
tomorrow
up.
night.
Never let it
Never
down.
given up. But my point is this is Disney Plus, and I don't know how well a show called Captain Durag during Black History Month, while some may find it inspirational, I think a lot of people think it's very out of touch. And I've been looking on X, I've been looking on Instagram, I've been searching and finding black folks' reaction to this.
Yeah.
And it is not good.
I was gonna say.
It's not good. Like most regular people are not looking at this as like
I,
something that they feel they can like look up to, that their kids will look at. Like the name alone, Captain Durag,
yeah.
and
I'm gonna bet this is gonna go the way of Willow real quick.
you may be right. I'll play a little bit more of this. Now look, again.
I mean, where's Safe Space and whatever those other idiots' names were?
Safe Space and oh God, what
I
was
forgot.
that?
I've forgotten all their names.
The chat will tell us. Let's see here though.
Use the cleaning solution blaster.
It looks
He
like
teaches
someone
these
with a
kids how to
fish.
clean their
Mr.
room.
Mr. Okay.
Hey, you kind of look nice without all that garbage.
You really think so? Thanks. Hey, AJ!
But it's Captain Durag is their new hero. I mean, what does this even say? Like, what does this even say to me? Honestly, this is
says-
like racist shit in my
I was gonna
opinion.
say this screams tone deaf. It screams
ridiculous.
tone deaf. But I mean, you saw the woman who created the character, right? She's all proud and wanted, finally to have superhero representation for her people, even though you've got 50 years of creators creating black superheroes, and some white people created some black superheroes too. But you still have black people who wrote them, right? I mean, you've got a ton of them out there. If you want to think of the last original standalone character that was created is by DC, I believe, with Static Shock.
Yeah, yep, right. No, look, there have been, and I saw a comment in a stream the other night about Miles Morales, and I think it wasn't understood the way that I think it was meant.
Yeah.
But and you know what I'm talking about. But my point being is like this is not. I don't. Who approved this? Like who actually? This went through a lot of people, Matthew. Who thought this was a good idea to have
Right.
a character called Captain Durag?
I mean, that had to pass a bunch of people that didn't think that there was a problem with that at all, which is interesting in itself, right?
And G.I. Jetman is this Ironheart the cartoon. I mean, it just screams like completely out of touch. And I don't know how this is still a thing, right? Like this is still a thing. And I just don't I just don't understand how this got
Yeah.
passed. Whoever it is that they're quality control people and they thought this was a good idea.
Sensors. I mean, somebody must have said, I mean, come on, they're supposed to have sensitivity readers, aren't they? I mean, come on.
I mean, good God. I had to bring it up only because I saw it today. It is pretty freaking new. But also, again, releasing it during Black History Month. And hey, look, I have no problem Dolomite, right? Because it almost screams like blaxploitation.
Yeah.
In a way. It's just interesting to me because you would think cooler heads would prevail or that someone would. No. It's like here we go. This is our Miles Morales, I guess, of the Disney Junior or whatever. War Chest also had kind of a comment for you about winning all in, Matt. The only fig I don't have is Viteris, the Armory Pack. Got 2 of the Como and Jaeger. I don't have the Decoder, and I think my favorite figure, other than Conan, is the Nin Vilmir.
Oh, Nin's awesome. The Warrior Ball and Chain is amazing. They don't have these anymore, but this is the original. Well, there's one more. There's a gold one, but there's the gold and the silver decoders. If you have the Varnox, on the back of the Varnox is at the back of the box. You can cut it up and you can make your own decoder because it's got the 3 parts that you need to put it together to make that. The Savage Slates are still one of my favorites, but they've been sold out for a year and a half now. But no, it's an awesome line. Stoked that you're in there.
Hey, no, I appreciate it, and obviously from what I've seen, they obviously are pleasing everybody that's actually obviously into it. And also in a way, War Chest was speaking a foreign language to me. It might as well have been hieroglyphics as far as I'm concerned, or Greek for that matter. There you go.
The wired cape on this guy is just amazing.
Wired capes are the way to go. Let's not kid ourselves.
They're so easy to do these
right,
days.
Soft goods. Let's get it done.
Then, here's one that I modified and made him kind of the Horned King from the Black Cauldron with Skeletor's staff. I mean, these guys are just awesome with the ability.
Some in my part of the world might call him Skeletor.
And I actually used him for something like that too. I popped those horns off, put the hood back up, and that's why he's got the staff there. Make him Skeletor or it's slipping my mind. I can't believe it's skipping my mind. But the Conan wizard.
Man, you know what's so funny is when you're on live.
Oh yeah,
and you're talking and you're trying to it's so funny because you mispronounce or you say one thing wrong and people just jump on it, right? But at the same time, it's man, I challenge people. Shane knows what I'm talking about, right? It's you're filling time, you're talking, but no, that looks awesome, dude. And again, wired capes, way to go with soft goods, especially characters that have capes. That should be the standard.
Well, and if you look at my Instagram, I had a picture of Nin and Nin Vilmir and Red Sonja for my Valentine's Day pick on Saturday.
Beautiful.
Thulsa Doom.
Red Sonja. Yeah.
So
Thulsa Doom. The capes are the shit, dude.
That's Thulsa Doom from the stories and the comic books, not Thulsa Doom from the movie, which they switched him with a different villain. Which is very odd, but Thulsa Doom was a necromancer with a skull for a head.
Frank says Savage Crucible figs are a great line. I don't think you'll find any argument there from anybody that has them, I'd say. So, look,
Jaeger's one of the best. Yeah, for sure.
I want to take a look at this, and I know most of y'all out there have seen a lot of these AI videos. You've seen a lot of this AI slop. I've watched a bunch of the Star Wars ones. And while the Star Wars fans are ranting and raving and how, this is the story we need and this is so good, when you watch some of these AI creations, they're lifeless. They are dead-eyed, lifeless dialogue. The emotions of the characters, their faces don't move. When there's fighting involved, it's very stilted and very slow. I want to bring up a video that you've probably seen. I know I've seen it. Maybe some of y'all have seen it too. This is a Tom Cruise Brad Pitt fight. And this is probably one of the better looking AI creations that I've seen. And I want you guys to tell me what you think about this. And obviously, I want to hear your opinion as well. Honestly, like for me, I've watched a lot of AI slop, Matthew.
You animal!
This honestly is some of the best, at least fighting, that I've seen out of AI.
Out of AI, yeah, probably.
I mean, I've watched some really bad stuff. I've watched I showed my son this past weekend some of these Star Wars things, and he couldn't even watch them either.
Yeah, no.
He literally was like, I
Nope.
can't watch this.
Nope.
And it's because most of them, again, they're lifeless, they're dead-eyed. The dialogue is not straight. The vocals aren't. The characters' faces change within. Look, I appreciate the effort. Okay,
Yep.
It's a new tool. It's not going anywhere. It's a new tool. Those that learn how to perfect it will do well, and there will be a lot of copies, right? A lot of copycats.
Well, just remember that when Henry Cavill gets ready to fight in Mission Impossible, he instantly grows a beard.
Yes.
Boom, boom, and it just he just flexes so hard, he pops the beard right off his face.
It's just honest in freaking times.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole video. But this is probably the closest I've seen to a fight scene that is as quick and maybe dynamic in a way. These are people that are CGI artists that are learning the tools, and it's interesting. And the reason I wanted to show that is because I have a comment by a CGI artist recently, a guy named Bill Robinson. Stu for lunch, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. And this was something he commented on. He said, well, it finally happened. I was hired to work on a major live-action Hollywood film. One of the biggest anticipated films of the year, okay? He said they needed a small animated sequence and wanted a character designer. I was handed a Chat GPT image and told to make it different. So I did. I spent hours finessing the design into something better and more specific for the character in the film. Waited a week for notes from the studio. Then was told they got clearance from legal to use the original AI image instead. No need for any further work. This is what the director wanted. And then he follows that up with, what are we doing as a society? What's the end game? Replace every human until we're all homeless. I just don't get it. If a major Hollywood film with a budget doesn't see the need to work with real artists, is there any hope left? After watching that fight scene, even as like I used the word stilted earlier or kind of off, in 6 months that fight scene is going to look 10 times better than it does right now. Yep. So how do you feel about this? This guy doesn't look he doesn't look like an old guy. Doesn't look like a guy. This is a visual, artist, graphic, CGI artist who's learned his craft. Do you think this is where we're going? I don't think unions and stuff are going to be able to stop it. I think
they can't. They won't be able to stop it, because the minute that they strike or put up a front, they're gone, because they're like, okay, you want to fight this? Bye-bye. We're just going to use it now. And that's the end of that. And so there's no recourse in that until people make the conscious decision to not support AI content. And I do it as much as I possibly can every day. But at the same time, I know I've got friends that put stuff out there, and I'm like, man, I'm happy that you're using it, but I'm just not going to engage with it because I don't want it to fill up my feed, because I think it takes away from real artists, and I think that it takes away from the human touch. It goes back to what I talked about at the very beginning of the stream. All of this, everything's done for you thing, creates a lowered level of intelligence. It destroys part of our soul every time we use it.
It's interesting because I do think it's here. Well, no,
Yeah,
we know
it
it's
is.
here
It
to
is here.
stay.
Yeah, it
It's
is here.
not. It is what it is, and that's gonna bleed into comics.
Yep.
Right. It's gonna bleed
Well,
into.
it's only going to make them better, I think, because the way
Well,
comics have
right
been so
now.
terrible.
Okay. Yes, I can't argue with that. Um, but yeah, it is here. I think we probably ought to get used to it. Uh, Sift through the quote unquote slop that you can. You'll hear about the good stuff. You'll
Yeah,
hear about the bad stuff.
yeah,
Right?
and people that are using it and having fun with it, good. I'm glad that you're having fun with it, but it's just not something that I want to engage with.
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't mind perusing through and watching some, but I have found that I don't feel anything while
Yep.
I'm watching most of them until we see a real use
Hmm.
in some shape, form, or fashion. My thing is, and I talk, okay, just to break it down into the real world, folks. I don't know what job you have out there, but I talked to a guy who's worked in logistics. Okay,
Hmm.
made great money in logistics. That's called shipping, moving things from A to B. Okay, for a company. Um, so now he's on the job hunt,
Yep.
and he has found that AI has reduced the work size, the personnel size of many of the companies that he's applying with. And if he doesn't know how to like using shortcut keys on your keyboard, for instance, using a computer or playing video games or whatever, he's found that and this he's like 32, and he is almost obsolete in the job that he's been doing for 10 years.
Yep.
And even in the sales, it's so, yeah, it's interesting. It is going to replace a lot of things: CGI artists, comic artists, writers, right? Producers, engineers, music industry, right?
Well,
There's
the
a
music
lot.
industry's already been replaced by.
It got replaced a long time ago, but it's only getting worse, man.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
fascinating, but I just hate it because. And his look, 3 star says, I have no soul, so I'm good to go with AI. I totally get it. Mid Josa, how you doing? And I agree. Bikini coffee barista stands would be a great way to go.
Hey,
Maybe
I mean,
just in
headed
real
straight to
life, for that
idiocracy,
matter.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yo, 610, yo, Joe, Daddy, what's up? Hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, of course. And thank you always, because he always brings the heat. And then Joe Fan 84 is also here. What's up, Joe Fan 84? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, man, it's really tricky. And Shane says if you really want to get rid of AI, all you have to do is make all the prawn AI, and people will riot.
Well,
Actually, no, they
didn't quite go.
probably won't. They'll do the
Yeah,
opposite,
yeah,
Shane. That's the problem.
because I mean that's how VHS won over Betamax,
Right,
and ultimately that's how Blu-ray ran over HD DVD.
man.
Both of it had to do with Disney and the porn industry, but
Yep. Agreed.
or
Yeah.
Sony in the case of Blu-ray. But yeah,
I look, and I get the spirit of what you're saying, Shane. I
yeah.
just, it is what it is. But it also leads me into another story about AI, and it's somebody you guys might be familiar with.
Was it the story about
to,
how AI threatened to murder people and blackmail people because they said they were going to turn it off?
no, but Alexa, no,
Did you
it
see
wouldn't shock me.
did you see that story?
I didn't, but I'm glad you said that. I'll have to look it
Yeah,
up. I did not. What
the,
happened with that?
so they're developing AI at this company, and they decided to tell the AI that they were going to turn it off. And as soon as they did that, it
Stop
started
it.
blackmailing the CEO of the company with inappropriate pictures and emails and all kinds of stuff that
Where
it
are
was
we at?
generating. Yeah, no. So the AI was fighting for them to not turn it off.
Where are we at? That's what I want to know. But you know what?
Don't
Skynet.
give it access. Don't give it
Skynet.
access to anything.
We all know where this ends, Matthew.
We've seen it.
A movie was made about it years ago. Actually, decades before Terminator even.
Actually, Actually, dozens of movies have been made about
Yeah.
this topic.
No, we know where this ends, and scarily, like that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not like out of reach.
Yep.
It's not really. Pug with Toys, what's going on? One of those jerks I watched earlier for a little while. Man,
They're
boy, he
the
had
angriest
a
of the
great
jerks
rant.
tonight.
Yes, he had a great rant tonight. Someone should clip that and make a short out of
Maybe
it.
somebody should do that.
I'm just saying. Grow the channel, grow the channel. Anyway, yeah, more just as we hired 3 AI and automation guys last month, and we let 20 people go this week, replaced. Look, some people may say, hey, you're an asshole. It's business.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yep.
Yojo Daddy says, hey, the Max Headroom background is killing me. Glad you noticed, and hopefully it doesn't make you go crazy. Anyway, but yeah, I love that background. I couldn't help it. And Menjoza quickly had a jackass in my IG comments talking trash. I wonder if his artisan action figures and was taking pictures with glass film panes. Wait,
Yeah.
did I read that right?
Yeah,
I
no.
wonder.
So it's a way to create depth and put up word bubbles and stuff like that. So
Okay.
you can use the glass panes for a lot of depth in your photography. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I mean, people are gonna talk shit all the time.
Well, listen, I know I do. I can't help it for better or for worse. And then quickly, just to lead into this again, Pulp Fiction writer says it's impossible. It was impossible to get his movies made until he started an AI production company. Just put AI in front of it, and all of a sudden, you're in production on 3 features. So, this is one of the writers of Pulp Fiction. All right, Roger Avery. And he was trying to get his movies made. Now, look, whether these are low budget, whatever, doesn't matter. Independent. Tarantino, independent. He could not get his movies made through traditional marketing, through traditional pitches. He created a year ago an AI company called General Cinema Dynamics. Once he started saying he had AI in front of it, as he says, I built a technology company over the last year and basically making AI movies, and all of a sudden, boom, like that, money gets thrown at it just by attaching the word AI. And now we have 3 films in production. So that just goes to show you, and you and I talk about it all the time, the tech industry has taken over Hollywood at this point. And that's one way that I look at this. The other way, they're on board 100% with the use of AI to make films for us.
They are looking for any way possible to cut the budgets on these things.
Yes.
And the one thing that they're not listening to is get rid of 26 of the 27 producers on the damn thing, and you would save money.
Yeah. Well, the other part is that, look, regardless of your budget, although we talk about it as well all the time, lower the budgets, make good shit.
Yeah.
Right? If you actually put human writers who actually have talent, meritocracy, okay, that write good stuff instead of hiring through check boxes, you might get people back.
All of these people that they're hiring are smooth-brained, raised by computers already, by having all their digital content like we talked about at the beginning. So they have no actual life experience. They've never gone out and touched grass and traveled the world or experienced
it's a
anything.
different world.
So you can't have anybody write anything of intelligence who hasn't gone out and experienced real life.
It is a different world now, and I agree. And I don't know that that's going to get any better.
Well, not unless we do what I was talking about and take some of that technology out of the classroom, at least for the first, 14 years or so.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say unless we actually have people go to war. But that's a whole nother...
That's a whole other thing because everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right?
Man, you ain't kidding. You ain't kidding.
And if you have to go down there and eat dirt and watch people die in front of you and bleed and drag bodies and be forced to do things that you don't want to do to survive, then when you come home and everything's nice and happy and dandy, you want it to be rainbows and sunshine because you know what the other side of it is now. And so you're not so pampered anymore. You realize the world is a harsh place, and some of the shit that people complain about isn't worth the time of day.
Well, you might
And
have a
I
different
love dogs,
perspective,
and
right?
I love dogs. I'm just going to say that. That's a whole other thing that we're not going to talk about. Did you see that? I'll send it to you later.
Okay, send it to me later. I think, well, maybe. I don't think we talked about it. I do know something that might be near and dear to some folks here, to their heart. Masters of the Universe star Camila Mendez reveals why Tila's skimpy costume didn't make the cut. I saw this come up. She had some comments about why Tila's costume, which has been a topic of conversation, right? Like, I know I've talked about it, and it says, her new costume, while not too revealing, it says that Tila actress Camila Mendez confirmed she was ready and willing to don a character-accurate costume if asked. Unfortunately, or I say, well, for me, unfortunately, ultimately the filmmakers decided to head in a different direction. She says, quote, "I was okay with it, but they decided that it would be kind of silly to have this warrior woman trotting around in a swimsuit among all these big, burly men." As the article states, it makes sense, especially Tila is one of the few female characters to reside in Eternia.
What is this? What is this guy wearing?
Hang on, and we'll show
what is this guy wearing?
Hey, why is that guy wearing a loin? Wait, that's a fur. I don't even know what that is, Matthew. Can you explain?
Yeah, I mean it's
fur underwear.
It's fur underwear. Okay, it's wearing fur underwear and fur boots.
It's called fantasy. It's called fantasy, folks.
It's called fantasy, folks. There's a reason that we like half naked warrior men and women on the screen battling, because it's super sexy.
Yeah, it's look, I brought it up, and I know after we watched the as Frank says, He-Man wore less than Tila. I agree, and He-Man did rock the furry underwear. Shane doesn't think she seems to think she doesn't have the butt for it. Look, they can shoot scenes however they want. I won't say that, but I will say this, and I like a good badonkadonk.
Hey, do you remember the Joss Whedon versus Zack Snyder shot of Wonder Woman in the Justice League?
Oh, yes.
So Zack Snyder had them jumping out, and they did this whole thing. Joss Whedon took the camera, put it underneath the thing, had them jump out, and Wonder Woman jumped and dropped her ass right on top of the camera as she went out. I mean, come on.
And look, I don't give a shit what anybody says. The fans that go to see that film would have been ecstatic over a shot like that, right?
Well, that shot was in the Joss Whedon
that's what
one.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's understanding your audience. Now, look, I'm not saying you have to go above and beyond and go crazy with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's understanding, right? It's also having an eye for things, so to speak. Look, I get it. I get there's people that's like, yeah, it's stupid. Why would somebody? But again, He-Man, obviously, as Frank said, he wore less than Tila. It's fantasy, and that's okay. Like it's okay to do that. Is it practical? No, it's not. Am I looking for practical? Look, we hear it all the time on the toy channels, right? It's toys, it's fantasy, it's fun, right? Does it have to be modern day guns? Does it have to be something that makes sense? It can be sci-fi, it can be a mix of whatever.
Right.
It's the same thing. So in a sense, I understand when I get criticized for asking for maybe some consistency in some of the things that I like or watch, and some people say, "Hey, just unwind your mind, turn your brain off." I fully understand. Yeah, hang on, do that one more time. Right? That's understanding the assignment, folks. That's understanding the assignment. Yes. I mean, I just, to me, look, it's not a big deal. It's not. But I appreciate the actress at least saying, hey, If this
I do
was,
it.
if this
Yeah.
is what they wanted me to put on,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna wear because I'm an actress. I signed up for the gig. If
Yep.
this is what they want me to put on, that's what I'm gonna put on.
Yep.
Right. However, obviously not being the case. But I did see that article and I thought it was interesting. Just the fact that she actually commented on it rather
Yeah.
than saying, oh, it's outdated or weird, right? That she actually had a reasonable comment about
Yep.
it. It was like, hey, look, it is what it is, and if that's what they wanted, I would have done it. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned Scooby Doo.
Yep.
Did you know? And does the chat want a live action Netflix series of Scooby Doo who has already cast McKenna Grace as one Daphne J. McGillicuddy? No, actually, I don't know what her last name is, but just Daphne. And
Blake. Last name is
Yeah.
Blake.
Sure.
Daphne Blake.
Oh, you're being serious. Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I did. Sorry, I had no idea. So Frank says yes. Frank says yes.
Look,
Joe
you know what?
Fan has a big smiley face.
It depends on who
she
they
is
cast.
pretty nice. Yes.
It depends on who they cast, and the Velma casting would be important for me.
Okay.
I mean, I think all the casting would be important for me, but if they screw up the casting, then it doesn't work. And if they go the way of the TV show Velma, it doesn't work.
So this was picked up in 2025 by Netflix. 8 episodes. The official log line for the show describes it as a modern reimagining of the popular cartoon show. That phrase has me worried.
Listen, you can't. I mean, you can, but you can't do it. I mean, if you're going to do a live action, what you need to do is you need to go back to the 1960s and use 1960s aesthetics, use 1960s technology, use 1960s characterizations, and make these characters 1960s characters. You can make them good, engaging, fun characters. You can do all that kind of good stuff with them, but it has to take place in the 1960s where, it was easier for the banker to screw the townspeople out of money, or the rich industrialist to crush a town's hopes by stealing all their wealth and running off, or artwork, or whatever it happens to be.
Right.
Because the other thing that you have to do is that Scooby-Doo always has to end with a normal human villain.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, it has to be unmasked as a nothing supernatural, nothing extraordinary about them. They just used technology or innovation or whatever to do their special effects, so to speak, for the mystical elements. And if they keep true to those two things and stay away from modern stuff, I'd be fine with it.
And I think you're right. I think a 60s camp thing, right? Even a la Batman, 60s Batman in a way. I have no problem with that. I do agree. Obviously, if Scooby isn't in it, that has to be. And I don't think you can't be Scooby-Doo without him in the show. I do not, Clint, under any circumstances, want to see Pedro Pascal with a blonde wig on. I do not want to see that.
Well, we have seen that, right? Wasn't that in Wonder Woman 82 or something? Anyway.
Oh, actually, all the more reason I don't want to see it again. What a stupid fucking movie. That would be interesting, actually. That would be funny, actually, in a way. And William's here with you too about it's all about who Velma will be. I mean, look, I'm not going to necessarily say that because it is an ensemble cast and they all are somewhat equally important in their own way. But now look, I've seen some actresses of the unsavory persuasion who have dressed up as one Velma J. McGillicuddy. Not her real name, but I'll use that again. and and, uh, and I'm just saying, I've seen some very, very appealing Velmas out there. Okay, and
Oh yeah.
you know, let's see.
I mean, I want Sydney Sweeney to play Velma, but sorry,
I do,
that's me interrupting you.
that is you, and that's okay because you know what? The reason I leave my phone up is because everybody recognizes that sound, and oh Jesus, I don't need to see that again. And for those of you wondering, it is Pedro Pascal with the rope of truth or the lasso of truth around him in a blonde wig. Picture what you will. Okay, dig if you will.
It's from the movie, so if you've seen
Yeah.
the movie, you've seen it because
you already
he
know.
tried to pull a whole
Jesus
Trump allegory with that one
Christ.
that didn't work.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal Scooby Doo. Yeah, I could buy that. If he'd be like in the. Speaking of which, we're gonna watch the Mando and Grogu trailer that drops
Yay.
today.
The actual trailer that they should have put on the Super
actual
Bowl.
trailer, not the Clydesdales. I mean the Tauntondales. But we're gonna watch
Dumbest decision they ever made, and they've made dumb decisions.
Because Zoomers know all about the Clydesdale commercials, right? Any young person you want to bring in, they totally understand you making reference to a commercial that started in the early '80s, right? Maybe '70s actually. But anyways,
Menjoza, I loved Big Fish. I just that movie was crazy. And I haven't thought about that in so long.
That's a pretty wild.
That would be an amazing way to do this storytelling. I agree. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That's pretty cool. Joe Fanny forces if a kid can identify as a cat and demand a litter box in the classroom, he can be a dog. Yeah, I guess technically. Depends on what state you're in, Joe Fan. So nonetheless, I saw this. I saw who they cast as Daphne. Look, hey, she's a looker. I'm okay with this.
I got nothing to say about this so far.
Right, McKenna Grace. Look, I don't know a lot.
It's still too early to say anything about it. We have to know who the showrunners are, who the writers are.
Let me read to you the log line. It says log line. I've never actually heard that. I don't think I have. But anyway, it says during their final summer at camp, old friends Shaggy and Daphne get embroiled in a haunting mystery surrounding a lonely, lost Great Dane puppy that may have been witness to a supernatural murder. Together with the pragmatic and scientific townie Velma and the strange but ever so handsome new kid Freddy, they set out to solve the case that is pulling each of them into a creepy nightmare that threatens to expose all of their secrets. That's the description.
Get out! Oh wait, wrong thing.
Cut it out. Yeah. So I mean, look, it seems like maybe it's a early. Obviously, it's an early adaptation or whatever, or early portrayal.
Yeah.
Now, so the actress did voice a young version of Daphne, evidently. So she's kind of reprising a role that she did in a prequel called let's see. Nope, she in Scoob! Exclamation mark. She was supposed to also reprise it in Scoob! Holiday Hunt, but the film was axed by Warner Brothers.
Which sucks because Scoob was a good franchise and they could have done something interesting with it. I like the movie that they made, so
So yeah, but she's been in some stuff. She was in I, Tonya. She's
I, Tonya, where she hacks people's knees out.
She played like the younger version. She was in The Haunting of Hill House, Young Sheldon, Designated Survivor. She also starred in Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So she's accomplished as an actress. She's a working actress, that without a doubt. So at least that's name.
I've got no problem with that. I mean, like I said, it comes down to who's writing it, who's producing it, who's show running it. Right. Is this connected to any other nefarious people that we know?
I'm curious. Yeah, like you said, who's writing it?
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, that's going to be a big thing. If Seth Rogen's a part of it, no, I'm out.
Shit. I can't argue with that. I used to like that guy.
I used to like that guy too, and then I don't know what happened, but they warped his brain hard.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. So we would be remiss if I didn't mention um, Robert Duvall passed away.
Yep.
95 years old. For most of you guys, I mean, you know most of these movies,
Yep.
obviously.
Oh yeah,
Godfather,
for sure.
Apocalypse Now, Kill a Mockingbird, Lonesome Dove,
To Kill a
Tender
Mockingbird, such a great
Mercies.
movie.
Yeah. But, 95, man, that's a hell. We should all be so lucky
Yep.
to,
And I
to,
mean, amazing
right?
person, amazing life, amazingly good person by all accounts. And you look at To Kill a Mockingbird, and one of my favorites is Secondhand Lions. If you haven't seen that one, that's
Okay.
Michael Caine and Robert Duvall, in a story about their um, he's their niece's son comes to live with them because their niece is a wasted human being, basically. And then they just want to live their lives as old retired men. And they get this kid dumped on them, and they have to figure out how to live their lives with the kid. And they create something really magical and special as the two men have all these incredible stories throughout their lives. And the kid's trying to figure out, are they telling the truth, or is this just some made up thing that happened? And so it's really interesting. I'm going through something similar right now with going through all my dad's stuff and remembering the things that he did and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and putting it in places and times. I'm like, whoa, this is weird. I need to write a book on this.
It's a thought. Yeah, for me, I think Apocalypse Now is the
Yep.
one with
I
obviously
mean,
that line right there that Eric Thurman brings up. Yeah, it smells
on
like
napalm in the
victory.
morning.
I think a lot of us
Set,
have
baby.
used that line. Yeah, a very long life. The Great Santini is the one that I heard of,
Yeah.
heard quite a bit of from Chris Gore and Alan Ing on Versus yesterday from Film Threat. Which, if you guys aren't subscribed to Film Threat, subscribe to Film Threat. Chris Gore, Alan Ing, man, they do great live streams. They're funny as shit. Like, Film Threat is a good channel to watch.
They've
And
been
they're
into reviewing movies for 35 years,
yeah.
man. I mean, they are in
Longer
this.
than that, I mean, really, since the late '80s. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I
Chris
guess so.
Gore started Film Threat in the '80s.
Yeah, I guess he
But
did.
it's a good channel. I highly recommend to you guys. And yeah, Dreadnought K6, what's up, buddy? Commenting on the movie you're talking about, and
Yeah.
yeah, but dude, I mean, this guy, like, consummate character actor. It is, and yeah, I mean, Joseph says the Great Santini was my generation, my girl. Yeah, like, but 95, man, that in that industry, and to be, have done as many films and notable films, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
so many, so many.
so yeah, and
Hey,
yeah,
congratulations to Dreadnought K6's grandma.
100, yeah, that's
That's
fantastic.
amazing.
And Gone in 60 Seconds. Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, that one as well. And it's crazy. And Joe fan, hey, look, we're not going to get on that tip on this stream, so to speak, but I feel you. That's one of those funny things, Matthew. Sometimes I don't know if you think about it, but I've thought about it too. I'm like, all this, like, crap, and it's not crap, but you know what I mean. All this stuff. It's like, man, my son's gonna have to go through all this stuff.
Yep.
Well, it's something we all do, no matter how much stuff it is, large or small, right? We all have to go through it. But
Yep.
but hey, it's part of life. It is part of life. We should all be, so, either so fortunate or talented in whatever industry it is, whatever you do, to do it as well as Robert Duvall, right?
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
an actor,
Absolutely.
but it doesn't mean that you don't have whatever your own talent, and you're not, as good at what you do within, your industry. So yeah,
Yep.
it's but yeah, amazing person. And you're right, everything I heard about him and read, and sometimes you read that stuff where other actors and people come out and go, oh, they were a wonderful person who. I mean, look, like most of the stuff I literally looked up last night, and today was like this pretty stand up guy in
Yeah,
that industry.
yeah. I mean, in everything, he did a lot of stuff behind the scenes too, and he was engaged. He lived his life. He kept grounded with everything.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find deep dark secrets in that man's closet, I don't think. And so I mean, for all intents and purposes, he was a good dude. So I'm sad to see him go, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's part of the life cycle. And he lived to 95, and he had an incredible life. So
Yep.
let's celebrate his
Yeah.
wonderful life.
Well, and you'll see a bump. You'll see a bump in those films, right?
Oh, yeah.
You'll see some streaming. You'll see some other things, come up. But
Yep.
that generally happens whenever like a respected, notable actor or musician or something like that passes. And I have a feeling that's going to happen. I think there's a lot of people going to go revisit Apocalypse Now, which I highly recommend. Okay, so this was interesting. You made me aware of this. You made me aware of this right before we went on streaming tonight. This is happening. This is real. And I am fascinated by it. Gina Carano,
This has been in the works for years.
Ronda Rousey facing off. They have teamed up with Jake Paul, I guess, for the next bout, undercard, whatever. Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, not sure they're in the same weight class, which is a message
That's what
you
I
sent
said
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. What do you guys in the chat think about Gina Carano facing, who hasn't fought in longer than Ronda Rousey?
Well, Ronda Rousey hasn't fought in a while either.
Yeah, but Gina had stopped fighting like a few years at least before Ronda.
I don't know. Ronda went out they went out about the same time.
You think so? I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I just only because of Gina's.
Ronda got beat bad, and she never came back
Acting.
from it.
No,
And
that's
then-
true.
and-
Yeah, she
and
got
then-
her ass beat.
She did, and then Gina went into acting. There's been this. There's not even a beef, right? There's just been this
No,
fascination because, I mean, when Ronda was on the rise, I was a huge fan of Ronda Rousey. Okay, I loved her background. I loved her mother's story. I loved her story.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to see her succeed, but I do also see that she had a weakness, and once it was exploited, everybody saw it, and that was the end of her career.
You're right.
I've never seen Gina fight. I know nothing of her fight career. I only know her
watched-
from The Mandalorian and her acting, her time trying to act in Deadpool and all that stuff. And I like her as a person because I've met her in real life. I've sat down and had dinner with her. She's engaging. She's incredibly humble and down to earth. So I like both of these women, and to see them fight, I'm like, I don't know who to root for because I like both of you.
Yeah, and everybody's like, please, not their faces. I know, right? Look, I think Gina's a bit bigger gal.
Yeah.
I think, from that aspect. Now, that doesn't mean anything in MMA. Not really.
It still does. Weight classes are there for a reason.
But don't you remember back in those early days, and I know you guys out there do too, those early days of UFC where you'd see the big
but you had
7-foot country boy, and then you'd see the grappler come in, and the grappler would put them bitches to sleep. You remember
because
that shit?
Tank fucking Abbott didn't know how to do shit except for stand there and have people hit his belly, right? But then even in the MMA fights, I mean, it was still weight class based because you had that one jerk, that other country boy jerk that would shake his belly all the time, but he was a hell of a fighter. He knew how to knock people out.
I just remember
But size
seeing
matters because you can't put Cain Velasquez or Brock Lesnar in a ring with what's his name, George St. Pierre or any of those guys because they one punch and they're fucking dead.
So Shane
Roy
says,
Nelson, Roy Nelson.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay. So Shane says, I really don't think people care about this.
I think
look,
they do.
I actually think there is a subset of people who
Yeah.
who will care about this.
Yeah.
That now in the overall pantheon of fighting, I'm not sure anybody's that excited. It's like saying, "Hey, I'm excited for Jake Paul to fight Mike Tyson." Right? It's like
Nobody
no,
was excited
you're
about
not.
that. Everybody was excited for Mike Tyson to knock him out, but they gave him rule set that he couldn't knock him out. So it
Right.
ruined the whole freaking thing. And you
I
see the difference when Jake Paul fights somebody under rules and when he fights somebody without rules, because every time he fights somebody without rules, boom, he's destroyed.
I mean, seriously, like, yes, it's, and I'm a Joe fan. Like, I'd like to see a little disrobing,
Wardrobe
if I
malfunctions.
could,
Yes, everybody wants a
right?
wardrobe malfunction.
Now whether that's going to happen, probably not. And yes, Dreadnought. Some of these girls do go to OF. Instead they decide, hey, you know what? I'd rather make money without getting cauliflower ear. I get
Yeah.
it. I would
Yeah.
rather as well, personally. But
Menjoza, I do know that the first 4 UFCs didn't have weight classes, and they were free for all fighting events.
yes,
No holds
yes,
barred, whatever.
100%.
And there was no rules about gloves or wearing gloves or not wearing gloves and certain techniques and
Nope.
all that stuff. And so people cheated like a motherfucker and did all kinds of weird shit. And that's how the Gracies came to fame, because they'd roll around on the ground and they would choke people out because nobody had ever been choked out before. Because
That
they were
shit was
big
crazy
country
though,
boys.
Matthew.
It,
I
it
remember
was crazy.
going
It
to my
was
best
nuts.
friend's house and popping in a VHS tape of, like, the first UFC, and it's like some big fat country boy son of a bitch going up against one of these grappler guys who you'd think, oh, that little dude's gonna get his ass whooped, and then that grappler dude ends up choking a son bitch out. And it was just like, how's that possible? And then as the sport evolved and became
Yep.
regulated, then that's where the safety comes in, right? To extent, I can understand why it's taken over boxing as a premier, like, combat sport in America, anyway.
Yeah, but
Let alone
boxing
the
has
world.
become so scripted and predictable, and MMA is getting that way
Yeah.
too. Unfortunately, now that there's only one major source of it,
Okay.
when you had competing sources like Pride versus UFC, different
Right.
rule sets, and then you could create fun things where you bring people in from other leagues. But the problem is, you got to fix the rules. You have to merge the rules, and then when you merge the rules, nobody has an advantage. But if one guy has to come over and compete under a completely different rule set, then their fighting tactics aren't the same. And
Yeah.
we found that when Pride came over to UFC, those Pride guys struggled to make a name for themselves in the UFC because the rules were so different, and they couldn't use steroids anymore.
It is interesting, and the knowledge of this chat when it comes to, like, UFC and, like, history and stuff is
Don Fry.
I had no idea. Really, I truly didn't.
Don Fry was amazing. I loved Ken Shamrock.
I mean, look, Shane's like, hey, Tank Abbott. Dreadnought said,
yeah.
hey, the Gracies aren't nearly as badass without the GI. It was proven time and time
Gi.
again.
It's called the gi.
Okay. Well, my bad. It shows you how much I know about that shit.
Well,
Look,
so
I
the
see
problem-
GI. You know what I'm saying? I immediately think, oh, GI Joe.
The biggest problem with the great, yeah, right, of course. Who wouldn't? The biggest problem with the Gracies was that I read this in many of their books, is they thought that if you punched or kicked somebody, you would break your foot or your hand. And I was like, that's because you weren't taught properly. But nonetheless,
Sure, I get that.
Their sport was based on rolling around and grappling people on the ground. In a real fight, that's not what's going to happen. In self-defense, that's not what's going to happen. But in a ring, you can allow that to happen and do something with it. Because in real life, you got 5 other guys that are stomping on your head when you're trying to roll somebody on the ground.
Or in real life, like,
there's guns.
Or if you weigh less than the other person, chances are you're getting your ass beat. I mean, that's just law of physics, right?
and in the ring in those early days, they tried to prove otherwise, and ultimately they couldn't, because if you were matching skill versus skill, once the skill sets came up on everybody had a boxing coach, a Thai boxing coach, and a Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach. And you do all of that, and maybe a judo coach, right? You throw all those things together and you train them regularly and you understand them. that changes the game, and size does matter in fights.
Yeah, it's funny because Three Star said, "Whoa, just look back at the screen. I'd buy that for $1." Yeah, hey, you might be able to buy it for probably like
Yeah.
$69.99.
Or
No pun
or
intended.
just watch it for free on Netflix. I'm just saying that's what it's going to air
Or
on.
yeah, on Netflix. Yeah, you'll be able to watch this on Netflix with
Yeah.
Jake Paul because I know all of you guys are interested in watching Jake Paul fight
Now-
whomever it is he's going to fight.
Now, this was the fight that changed the UFC and MMA forever. Was Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, that scene out of Stripes, William, okay, that John Candy scene out of Stripes, can't beat it. I'm with you. I'd rather watch women's mud wrestling too.
But that Forrest Griffin's Stephen Bonner fight, it brought everything to the forefront, and they were not good fighters, neither one of them, but they poured their hearts out and they beat the hell out of each other and they put on a show and everybody got so engaged. It reinvigorated the UFC for the next 15 years. And Stephen Bonner was definitely a game changer and an inspiration to the sport. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like I'm not kidding. As I'm scrolling through here, like there's some knowledge in here that like I'm fascinated, right? Like I am fascinated. For instance, Clint says I go to BJ Penn's gym every time
Yeah.
I'm in Hilo. Am I pronouncing it right? Hilo or Hilo?
Hilo, yeah.
Okay. And then let's see here. Aaron
Yeah.
Pryor was one of the best boxers ever to lace up a glove. And then let's see here.
Yeah, BJ Penn was a phenom, but he couldn't survive in MMA, and it was sad to see him get beat
Okay.
down like that. But he's a phenomenal
Well,
technician.
and then I got this comment. Joe Fan
AAU.
84 says I got maybe 45 seconds of fighting left in me. I prefer only to use it when absolutely necessary. I'm too
Absolutely.
old. Well, Joe Fan
Hey, hell
84,
yeah.
can you keep up with this?
Ninja chops. Where was that? Where's that other one that you pulled up right before this one?
It was actually Dreadnought. Let me get to it.
Where
here.
was that?
It's right here. It says I was on a AAU team with Floyd Mayweather's cousin. Played with
Oh, yeah.
Floyd 25 years. A gi or a G or a go or a GI.
That's
I'm
probably
kidding.
a go. That's a go. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, AAU does a good job of making the all sports organizations and bringing everybody together. But Mayweather's not my favorite.
Interesting.
People, but
yeah, I mean, look, Clint, Jeremy Horn's gym is in my town. Plus, my buddy was from West Lynn and wrestled with Kyle in high school and college. Or is that Shale?
I don't know that name.
You guys are gonna kill me on these pronunciations, and I'm a stickler for pronunciations and shit.
Man,
okay?
I used to work with Machado's guys, and some other guys that are spinoffs of those guys from Machado's places, and I worked with some professional fighters many a time.
You like my screech move? You didn't even see it, man. You didn't even see it, Matthew. You missed it. You have to go back and watch the replay. Just add another view to the count. Speaking of which, Shane says, "For you need to hit the like button. Get busy." Yeah, you guys get busy. That's people bouncing in, bouncing out. That's what it is. No, I get it. I'm sorry. Just
Nice.
whenever you see the name McGillicuddy spelled out, it's such a beautiful thing. I'm sorry. It's like
It's awesome.
stew for lunch. Much appreciated.
Yeah, Clint, I do like that quick kick in the black gi, but
No, that's Black GI, Matthew. Black GI.
that sounds
gonna-
racist.
It's gonna
That's
kill me.
racist.
It's not as racist as Captain Durag.
It's close.
Okay, it's close enough. It's close enough, damn it. Okay, one more story. One more story, and then Mando Grogu trailer. Then we're gonna talk
Mandu.
It might as well be because nobody
gives a shit.
One
No.
more story, and I have a feeling some of y'all might find this story interesting. I really do. It is a tale of two toy makers and where they're headed. And a tale of two toy makers, Mattel craters while Hasbro's digital pivot.
Yep, I saw that one.
Delivers. Mattel struggles with reliance on toys and inventory issues. Hasbro's digital gaming success boosts investor confidence. Mattel plans a $110 million digital investment in 2026. So this is basically giving you an idea of kind of Mattel and Hasbro and where they're at. And I don't know that I would have thought about this recently. But going into the digital realm with Wizards of the Coast, for instance, has brought Hasbro a pretty big like success rate and profit. It says Hasbro shares rose as much as 9% on Tuesday. On the strength of its digital gaming business. Mattel stock sank 27% on Wednesday and was on track for its worst intraday plunge in more than 2 decades. It's a strategic gap. Basically, and we found out about this a while back, Hasbro was pivoting to do more gaming. They're going to get into the gaming industry.
Except for they just shut it down today. This week, they fired all the people from the video game company, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. They just laid them all off. They fired them all.
I'm curious,
so the Snake Eyes game is gone.
Right. Now, I hate that because I actually was hoping that could be something. But I don't know that they're going to completely abandon something that as a pivot for them has been a positive, a net positive. As it says here, Mattel makes most of its revenue by selling Hot Wheels cars and trucks, toddler play sets under its Fisher-Price brand, dolls and action figures with licenses like Pixar and Warner Brothers Discovery. Consumers, however, are buying fewer classic toys, spending more on tabletop and digital games tied to hit online shows and films. It says Mattel signaled on Tuesday that it was pushing into the digital gaming market as it announced its plan to acquire the remaining 50% of a joint venture with China's NetEase. But the initiatives are still in the early stages and also pressuring margins. In contrast, as I'll finish it up, Hasbro reported an 86% jump in its Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming segment revenue in the December quarter, while its operating margin grew from 45% from about 24% a year earlier. Magic the Gathering posted a 141% surge in revenue. So, as the chat's kind of, banging out a few comments about that, I'm curious, man, like, is Mattel chasing something that they may not be able to pull off? Like, you see your competitor maybe doing well in one segment, so you go, well, we got to do that too. And if you don't pull it off, it could be a big risk, right?
It's a big risk, but I do think it's a smart play. I mean, I don't know about you, but Renegade Game Studios?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have just about all of their G.I. Joe products that they've created.
Okay.
I'm brand specific, okay? But they are making decent games. And Wizards of the Coast has been making crap games lately, but they're still making stuff that people are buying. And if Mattel gets in on this, guess what? They may have to license some of their stuff to Wizards of the Coast. They may have to license some of their stuff to Hasbro to get it made.
Wow.
Now, we've already seen that Mattel and Hasbro are working together, making the Hot Wheels His Tank and the Hot Wheels Sky Striker. So they've already started developing a relationship. But these two companies are going to have to start working together because of Wizards of the Coast and their distribution network for their collectible card games. Right. And maybe a company like Renegade Game Studios to make some of their tabletop games, stuff like that. It's going to be an interesting gambit that they try to cross here. but I think it's well worth their time and effort to try to do that.
It's probably this. You're right. It's probably the smart play. I think the traditional toy business is
And
something that
and
we've
this is
all
why I think
known has
Dreadnought's next comment
decreasing.
was the one.
You talking about the smart play would
Yep.
be to license their IPs to talented developers who care about lore and the fans. I agree.
Absolutely.
The hard part is
But you have to get it distributed. So you have to go with somebody who has a track record of
Man.
creating and distributing a product. And IDW Games did this for a long time. So they took all their properties and made them into board games. The most successful being the Batman Adventures game, where they took the entire Batman the animated series and made it into a board game. They did the same thing with their comic book Ninja Turtles, and they made those two compatible so you could have your Ninja Turtles Batman crossover board game and do just about
Okay.
any scenario you wanted in that universe. Other than that, the IDW gaming platform did not succeed, unfortunately.
So I look, I agree, licensing it out, talented people, but what we've seen so often is that the people that are there to craft and create don't either care or respect whatever lore it is that you bring to the table, and then make something that ends up being an abomination or that
Like I
fans
said,
don't care for. It has to be the right
Look,
decision.
well, it really depends on who you're getting because, like I said, Renegade Game Studios has stuck so closely to the storylines of the cartoon and the file cards and this stuff. Like their role playing game for GI Joe,
It looks great.
It's really in depth and it's got so much detail that matches because they're pulling everything from the file cards, from the lore, from the comic books, from the deep lore of GI Joe, and they're putting it into these games that they're making and the scenarios that they're creating that you can jump into and have fun with. And then if you realize where it came from and you read the original source material that it came from, you're like that much more connected. So Renegade Game Studios is doing an awesome job with the GI Joe property. Again, you just got to find the right people, not like Wizards of the Coast that want to race and gender swap all the main characters
Yeah.
from Lord of the Rings and
Right.
everything else that they're trying to produce.
That's
And I'm
kind of
like,
what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And look, hey, Dreadnought makes some great points, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it would be a smart play if they weren't incompetent. I agree. At the same time, Ubisoft unfortunately is going under a major. I don't even call it a renovation. They're in trouble.
Yeah, you can't trust what's coming out from them right now because
They've canceled
they're struggling.
7 or 8 games. They're struggling really bad.
Yeah.
And I agree, it does need to be back to a meritocracy. I think most people would agree that the cream rises to the top if you only allow points of view that come from people with an agenda, or you only hire with a checkbox in mind. Then you're not doing it from what art is the best, what is the best play here. So yeah, it's interesting. I found this article interesting just because those are, the two major toy makers that most know, and Hasbro kind of hit a lick with pivoting into digital, and that can mean a lot of things. It doesn't just mean like an Xbox game,
right. Yeah.
That can mean a lot of different avenues, whether that's apps, right, phone stuff, games.
I will say that because Hasbro stepped into it first, but they've also developed the network, the system, the production ability. Mattel's got a long way to go to get there unless they use Hasbro's channels now. So if they've got to use some of the same people or poach some of the same people from Hasbro to come over to Mattel to help them with this, because starting from scratch, I mean, they're 5 years away from making something competent in that space.
Well, and it does take time, right? That's the thing. So you have to kind of make that pivot, then you have to wait for the payoff. It doesn't happen overnight. And with gaming in particular, digital space like that, there is a lead time that you need to see. It takes time to develop that stuff. Now, I'd say mobile in particular, and also, yes, the phone market overseas is humongous in China, Japan, stuff like that. So if you could capitalize on that, yeah, that could be a huge boon for Mattel. But as Clint says, Mattel worth 5.3 billion, Hasbro with 14.3, and I think Hasbro's just done a better job with their properties and curating.
They've been doing a better job of stringing everybody along, creating just enough good
That's
that
for
everybody's
sure.
engaged,
Yes.
and just enough crap that people are like, "Nah, okay, whatever," and then eventually it turns some people off. Yeah, no, Hasbro has hit that balance mark as they're going through mediocrity right now.
I mean,
some of the stuff's amazing, some of the stuff's crap, and they just kind of bounce back and forth. And
Yeah.
Mattel is kind of just the average of averages. I mean, I can't see anything that there's anything spectacular coming from Mattel right now. I can say that there's some cool stuff coming from them. There's some okay stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff that I just don't care about. And so Mattel just hasn't hit that vibe again. They haven't hit that through way. They've been relying on Motu and wrestling to carry them. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens beyond that.
And
Hot Wheels.
yeah.
Hot Wheels is probably their biggest one. The Hot Wheels
Yes.
collectors are freaking nuts, and that's hands down. They're crazy the way they go through those things. And
It is fascinating, though,
it is.
right?
It is.
Everywhere you go to Kroger, you go to Publix or whatever, you see them hanging on the little thing, right?
Well,
they're
they'll go
just
through those
everywhere.
bins, man. You got those bins out there, and you
yeah,
just spend
right.
forever going through there trying to find
Yeah.
something.
It's
And
fascinating.
they know what they're looking for too, and that's the crazy part.
Yeah, but we're all like that. It's just the ones we're looking at, the boxes are a lot bigger.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
fair.
And yeah,
Fair.
Clint, a lot of these toy companies get their CEOs from Wizards of Gaming. Almost ran Funko out of business. Yeah. Look,
Funko should be going bankrupt any minute now. I think
yeah,
Mondo.
right.
I think Mondo is the only thing keeping Funko going right now.
And Carlos, how you doing? Carlos says, wait, Mattel's worth 5.3 billion, and this is bad. And at least Hot Wheels is affordable for children. I agree. That's another thing that is a problem within that industry.
Yep.
Is affordable toys for children if you want to get children physically playing with something.
Which is why it's really cool to see this $13 action figure line from DC coming from Mattel.
Yeah.
And seeing what they're doing with that, and they look good. I think they're going to be really cool. And then that's not their collector's line, so they're going to be making collector's figures on top of that. So
we'll see.
I'm excited.
We'll see
I'm excited to see what comes of it. I'm not entirely enthralled with their collector's line because they haven't innovated articulation in a very long time with their top end lines.
You are right. You are right. That is every time I look at them.
But I don't know that it could be much worse than a McFarlane figure. But sorry, Tony.
You are also correct. Speaking of McFarlane, I need some of those Fallout figures. I'm not gonna
look, man. I mean, I love how deep Toddy Mac goes with stuff when he gets into it.
Yeah,
I love the detail that he puts into things. But his figures are just
they're not
good.
No, they're not. I know that. I know that. I have a Janis Joplin fucking figure there. And it's like, yeah, it looks cool as shit. But like, I mean, this is years ago when I didn't even care at all about collecting anything. And it was like, man, this thing sucks.
Yeah,
I have a Spawn figure that's not very good.
So I've got I actually sold them a while back. But I had the original run of Metal Gear Solid figures from McFarlane.
Okay.
And they were posable statues. Man, they were
You're right.
5 POA, sometimes a little bit more than that, but they were posable statues, and man, they looked awesome, but you couldn't do a whole lot with them.
You are correct. Yes.
They were amazing.
Yeah, no, you're right. They look great, but you're right, they're posable statues. Yeah, and that you're right. It hasn't been innovated on, really.
Mattel, yeah, and I know that they've tried to a couple of times, but it hasn't been their staple. It hasn't been their mainstay.
Right.
So
Well, we'll see. I thought that was interesting, though. A tale of two companies kind of going in different directions, and one is maybe leading the way. The other one is like, we need to get on that train and figure this out, right?
yeah,
Um,
I,
and
I mean, they're both trying everything that they can to keep a customer base, and they share some customer base. So
Sure. And Dreadnought, I agree with that statement for the most part, right? Like a lot of the DEI implementations have hurt most businesses across the board. I don't think that's been a win for most or any companies, especially in entertainment, because I think we're worse off for it.
So, Menjoza, you say that, and I say that, but you know what? Then they come out with a Avatar: The Last Airbender cheap ass figure set. That I'm like, well, maybe they come out with a Ninja Turtle set with comic packs. That I'm like, well, maybe. You say I'm never doing McFarlane again, but then there's always something that comes out that you're like, well, maybe I should,
And,
maybe I want to try
and
that.
and look, Helldivers, I love that IP.
Yeah,
Obviously, you guys know I'm a huge Fallout fan. The Power Armor stuff looks great. Yeah, so I get it. I totally do. And Clint says more big companies in toys, the better. Yeah, at least just for the fact of trying, right?
look,
Just
man, like I
more
said,
product.
I am loving Savage Crucible. It is my favorite line right now. I mean, GI Joe's right up there, but Savage Crucible is the next one. They are my two top lines. I love what Jada is doing, and I
Right.
want to support Jada as best that I can in any way that I can because Mega Man, Street Fighter, the Cyberpunk figures. I mean, all the stuff that they're making is awesome, and so I really want to support the people that I like a lot. And it changes and it ebbs and it flows, and I'm glad to see so many of these other players become successful. I know people love Mythic Legions, and there's a lot of Mythic Legions that I do like also. I'm like, that looks amazing. And I'm happy for the people that want that stuff because it is amazing. And I'm excited for all of these other companies that aren't Hasbro and Mattel that are making stuff that people love.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's healthy, at least for the collector. I'd like to see it healthy for kids, and
Yeah.
that's the part that's kind of unfortunately been lost. And it's I think it's just a byproduct of society where we're at right now.
I think so to a degree, but you know what I also think? I also think that if we do what I talked about at the very beginning of the stream, and we take out the computers and tablets from schools early on, and they have to engage in their physical world, that
Right.
the brain develops so much better with that kind of stuff that I think toys would make a comeback. That action figures and dolls and all these other tactile things would come back into fashion hardcore because you need that tactile response. And then with school, there's so much to go over, but then you come home and then you come and you get an action figure and you start moving around, and then you come up, you're telling stories in your head as a kid
Right.
as you're playing with them. And it helps the brain develop so much better that we could bring toys back to the younger generation as soon as we pull back on some of this technology early on. We limit their access to it, and it will help society grow and brains develop so much better.
Look, I can't argue with a lot of that. I know you've seen probably the articles. I know a lot of you guys out there have seen the articles about teachers who have, in states that have banned cell phone usage, like in class or whatever, and they've seen a change in their students. Their students actually talk to each other.
Yeah.
They share or help each other with work, or they're interactive in class, they're answering questions, like participating, stuff like that, which is what used to be the norm. And because being on your phone makes you very insular and separate, and you can just disappear in your own world. In a lot of cases, that's great. That's awesome. At the same time, you're right. Like, I think the idea of physical dealing with the physical, and especially young children, instead of just throwing a tablet in their hand,
Yeah, that's right.
right? You give them toys to play with. Now, I think
Yep.
there's certain toys that will always be fine, right? Robots, cars, trucks, trains, you know, vehicles of whatever kind, but especially like robots in particular. Those will always,
Yeah, oh,
right?
yeah.
Uh,
That's why
but
Transformers will always be a thing, right?
exactly.
I do want to say hello to Carlos. Good to see you, man. Um, Jada doing more vehicles. They do a lot of vehicles. I would love to see them make some scaled up vehicles. I want to see them make that Lexus that we can smash with the Street Fighter figures. I mean, come on, man.
Oh yeah, you do have to have that, right? You do have to have that.
Hey, man, thanks for stopping by.
Let's
Yeah.
see. Wait, I
And
didn't see that. Or at least maybe I didn't.
it,
It's
it
not
was
on
it
my
was just
comments.
above that one a little bit, but it's all right.
On YouTube?
Well, I saw it in both StreamYard and YouTube. So yeah. Um, yeah,
Interesting.
Stu, you can see it. You see it all the time. When kids have the opportunity to do something physical, they engage with it. I mean, you know, my daughter loves toys. She loves her action figures, but she loves Legos more than anything. She loves making stuff. She loves molding things out of clay
That's
and
cool.
sticking it in the oven or whatever. She is physically engaged with the world around her. We have limited technology with her so much. She is so far ahead of everyone in her class. I mean, she's 10 years old, and right now she's reading Percy Jackson, right? So she's going through the Percy Jackson books. We've instilled a love of reading with her and storytelling, and she's engaged with it. The technology stuff detracts from that, but we limit it as much as we can. And like I said, she is so far ahead of everyone in her class.
Well, and I think the main thing it's difficult,
Yeah,
right?
it
Because a
is.
lot of
Yeah.
parents say, "Well, you're not gonna have this, and you're not gonna have a phone till then, and you're not gonna have, whatever." But when all their friends are doing it, it's very difficult to be the odd kid out that doesn't get to do whatever that your
I,
friends are
I,
doing.
I guarantee you there's other parents that are thinking the same thing you are. And by having conversations with them, she's got two other friends that are in a similar situation that have limited technology so much. And, we hang out with those parents, and our
That's
kids get
cool.
together. So,
Yeah,
that's a thing. But yes, it is incredibly challenging in the world we live in to do that
yeah.
and not be ostracized. And I understand once you get to be a teenager, it's a big thing. But if you set ground rules and help them understand why you're doing it, which they won't till later, but you keep impressing upon them the whys, it will sink in eventually as they see their friends make dumbass decisions.
Well, I also think that just like, at the end of the day, as years go by and if it just becomes your norm, then it's not a big deal. And it is what it is. And
Yeah.
and in those early times, younger ages, I think it is a big deal. But as kids get older and they kind of get into their own thing and what they're exposed to, what their parents expose them to, then I think that ultimately at the end of the day, it's just it's what your life is, and it just is what it is, and you don't necessarily miss something that's not that big a deal to you, right? Uh, if it's not made a big deal to you, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of like this here from Clint says, do you
Yeah.
think TV is worse or the same as tablets or phones? Uh, I could see where the argument can be made. The difference is, Clint, to me, is that television wasn't something you could carry with you.
Right.
It wasn't in your hand while you're in the phone.
Yep.
Or in your hand while you're in the car, rather. My apologies.
Right.
It wasn't in your hand while you're waiting in line at the bank. It wasn't in your hand when you're standing in line to buy a pack of cigarettes. It wasn't in your hand whenever you're doing everything that we do every day. It's in our hand. You couldn't
Yep.
do that with a TV. So I don't
Right.
think TV is worse or better. It's different. I just think that television had its own time and place, and you couldn't carry it with you every moment of every day.
Right. And just think about how we interacted with television in our day, and Pop and I are older than some of you guys and younger than some of you other guys, but we had different experiences with that. But I will tell you that I'd get up early to watch my cartoons, and I would play with my toys while watching my cartoons. right? And then I would rush home after school to go see some cartoons if I wasn't having some time with my friends that I was playing with. But in my situation, yeah, I would come home and I'd get my Constructs sets, which was
Yeah.
a cheap version of an erector set, right? It was all plastic stuff, and they started getting into storytelling and characters and stuff, or my Legos or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tactile, and when you
Yeah.
incorporate the tactile with that, and then you have a program like GI Joe, and at the time, GI Joe was putting scientific, understandable facts in their storytelling, and they were putting social issues in their storytelling for kids, and that was way different than a lot of the other storytelling, and you can love Transformers and the other ones, and they had some of that, but I don't think anybody did it as well as GI Joe did, and that's my opinion. But I'm a GI Joe fan.
Well, and here's the reason I think that compared to maybe Transformers is that because the characters in GI Joe were humans. So like
Well,
you could to me you could relate to that a little easier. You
yeah.
might have some of the same story beats and some of the same lessons and some of the, but I think you in GI Joe it was some of
Do you
those
remember
stories
the giant?
you could relate to those. Even the flirting in the
Yeah.
episode, you could
Oh yeah.
see
Yeah.
it. You'd seen
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
in real life. You
Yeah. Yeah.
know some of that stuff.
But do you remember the Germ? The episode The Germ from GI Joe. This one always sticks out in my head, and I don't want to say it's a favorite episode of mine, but from a scientific standpoint, it was fascinating to me. Right, Cobra created this giant germ thing that started devouring
Oh
the
yeah,
landscape, right?
yeah.
And then they figured out apple seeds. Apple seeds have this acid, and this acid kills
Damn.
the cell structure. It breaks down the cellular structure of this thing that is essentially a single-celled organism that has just grown beyond its capacity. And there's so much science in that episode, and this is an airtight episode, right? Like literally an airtight episode because Airtight was the main character in it. But anyway,
Yeah.
you had this whole experience of being in diver suits inside this cellular plasma because you couldn't breathe in it. I mean, there's so many science things in this episode. It was fascinating to me as a kid, and probably sparked all of my scientific
so
endeavors
funny.
since then, besides the fact that my dad worked for NASA and all that.
So I do remember that episode, and I do remember, and that's like one of the
Apples
ways
have
it's like,
cyanide.
how do we
Exactly.
use Airtight? It's like, well, let's do this. Clint says, I'm asking just because we have an almost 2-year-old. We let him watch 2 30-minute blocks per day, so about 1 hour.
Hey, man, I will tell you that watching TV isn't going to distort them much. I mean, you got to pick the programming. My daughter wouldn't fall asleep as a baby and a toddler unless Batman, the animated series, was playing. Right?
Oh
And
wow,
it was amazing. So I've watched those episodes so many freaking times.
No,
But
that's awesome.
it's just about limiting their access to iPads, to cell phones, to that kind of digital computers, limiting their access to it. And if some of the research is saying that 2 hours of digital interaction with tablets or computers for someone under the age of 12 reduces the amount of white matter that the brain is creating and developing at the time, which means that their brains are shrinking if they do that rather than engaging in the physical world. And I just encourage you to promote the playing with Legos, to playing with other things that they're going to gravitate towards, Play-Doh, to making things, to science experiments, to rolling dice and looking at numbers. That's how I got my daughter so interested in math. She's a freaking math wizard for her age group right now because we played with dice as when she was little, and we had to count the pips, and we played Uno and stuff like that.
I remember playing Rook with my parents when
Yeah.
I was like 5. Like card games, Rook.
Card games. Play
like,
card games with them. Play chess or checkers with them. Teach them when they're about 8 years old, they can probably learn chess fairly decently, enough to play the game if they
Hey,
wanted to.
and I will say this, Dreadnought. Yeah, it's the 3 minutes or less doom scrolling Instagram short slash or Instagram reels slash YouTube
That
shorts.
stuff will get you every time.
Dude, my son, man, he turns 18 on the 20th of this month, and man, like he will sit there. It's like you got to pull him off of it because he'll just watch
Yeah.
one. And he was watching shit that was Chinese and it didn't make no sense and it was the weirdest stuff. And he was just showing it to me. He's like, I don't know why this stuff's showing up in my feed, but like he was mesmerized and it was some of the dumbest shit and it made no sense at all. And yet he was like glued to it. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, that stuff is
And
dumb as hell. Like it makes
well,
it's the weirdest shit you'd ever seen, I swear.
and this is why 6-7 is a thing.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah, mid Joseph TV is easier to monitor. I mean,
Yeah.
it is tough. It is tough with phones, and it is tough with tablets. I
Yeah.
agree.
But if you
it is.
program with good material, I mean,
Right,
you can look at the Gummy Bears, you can look at the Ninja Turtles 2012 series, you can look at a whole GI Joe, you can look at the old even Transformers, hell, He-Man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can look at old programming, you can look at some new programming that's pretty good, and engage their brain with material that you approve of and find a way to get them to interact with it. My daughter loves the 2012 Ninja Turtle series. She loves Batman the Animated Series.
that's
right?
all. I love it. I love it. I think.
And this is
great.
incredible artwork and incredible storytelling that happens
Right.
in both of those series. So, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? We're just finishing another, our biannual watch of Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? And that show is so emotional and engaging. And if you engage with the program with the kid, they're going to engage with it more. And that helps their brain develop as because you're watching it as a family, you're watching it as a group.
And as a
I think
family,
yeah,
you can kind of discuss.
yeah.
Right, like the stuff that you just saw, even if it's not a long discussion, even just short discussion, like what you liked about it, what you thought was cool, or whatever, right?
So
Just those little discussions that you can have with stuff like that is, watching it
even
together.
yeah, even at a young age, I mean, we're talking 6-7 here.
What'd you just say?
Exactly. We're watching these episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender and discussing with our daughter the fact that the voice actor who plays this character passed away
Okay.
before the series was finished. And so they had to have a different voice actor for the final season of the show for Mako. Mako passed away, so the character of Iroh was voiced by a different character. There's a whole episode, or actually there's two of them, that actually focus on the death of his son and how it affected him, and why it changed him irrevocably, and why there's this song that prevails. And Iroh uses this song, "Little Soldier Boy," to help cheer up a child who was crying. But at the end of the episode, you see him at his son's grave singing that song because that's how his son died, as a little soldier boy in his war that the Fire Lord was sending him on. And that's why he lost the Battle of Ba Sing Se, is because his son died and he was so crushed by that moment. It rocked his world. So he ended up losing that battle because of the loss of his son, not because he was incompetent, because he had it won other than that. And this is a whole discussion that we started having with my
Okay.
daughter at 6 years old.
Oh, that's
right?
cool. I
And
mean,
so we just had it again more recently at 10. And it's still so impactful to reiterate these kinds of stories about self-sacrifice and the loss of things that we love and what it means to us. And so picking shows that have moments like this in it, where you can have these discussions with your children, that on the surface, it's just another story that they're watching it because it's a cartoon.
yeah.
But then there's so much more to it.
Yeah, and obviously, depending on what it is, I think out of anime, you get a lot more
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh
there's
yeah.
a lot
Yeah,
more to
for,
chew on.
for sure. And
Right,
Eric,
instead of a Rick and Morty.
yeah, and Eric. Well, Rick and Morty has some good stuff too, but
I know, but you know what I mean.
yeah. And Eric, I absolutely agree with you because my daughter loves to cook with my wife right now.
Yeah,
She
cooking
she is at
cool
10
for
years
kids.
old. My wife is teaching her how to cook and how to make stuff, and she is engaged with that, and it is awesome.
No,
So
yeah,
the more
I
you can
agree.
engage with your kids, the better. My daughter is begging me to go play disc golf with her because we played 2 weeks ago, and last week it was raining. And she's like, the weather should be good this week, so we can go play disc golf, right? And I'm like, yeah, baby, let's go.
Yeah, no, I've seen, but like kids, when you get them involved in cooking and
She
you
loves
show them how to make stuff and you
she
show them like
loves
what
the
to
kids
do,
cooking
yeah,
shows. She loves all the cooking
that's
shows,
cool, man.
but
Yeah,
she
it's
loves
awesome.
especially the kids cooking shows.
Well, and that, you know, that makes sense, right? They could relate to that, right? They can relate to that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I love it.
no, yeah, it's cool, and that's something. That's an idea, Eric, actually, that you might want to think about. Okay, so we're at the 11 o'clock hour, Central Time, but I'd be remiss if we did not
Yeah, we
play
gotta
this
talk about it.
trailer.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the trailer, but
and
we gotta talk about
then-
Night of the Seven Kingdoms too.
Yes. So let's play the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer for those of you who may have or may have not seen it. Tell me whether or not this gets you excited for this movie. And look, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you got the music.
Music wise.
Comedy. So I'm guessing this is in between when that ship was blown up.
So yeah, he's got the Razor Crest back. So I'm
Wait,
assuming
does he have it back, or is this before it was blown up?
I thought this was after they retired and a continuation of like the next phase of their life. I don't know. There's no information about this.
What happened to the Naboo speeder that they were using?
Right.
That was totally ineffectual for a bounty hunter to use as a vehicle.
Of course. But this is, I don't know. I assume this is a continuation. This is possibly, if this film does well, leading into an Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Mandalorian kind of all together movie that Dave Filoni wants to put together. But let's see what the rest of this trailer holds for us.
Whoa, for this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a hut.
Hey, and you know who that is, right?
Thank you.
Isn't he from the video game, the Jedi Survivor? Isn't he from Jedi? That's a Babu Frick looking character.
That alien right there. Did you not pick it up with his voice? Who that is?
Oh, it's Martin Scorsese.
It's Martin
Tell you
Scorsese.
whatever
Yes.
you want.
Hang on, I'll back it up.
I can use some information.
Whoa, for this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a hut.
Close for the night. Thank you.
Gangsters. War criminals.
Long live the Empire.
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
Bad guy. So now
I
you're
tell
taking
you-
out bad guys?
We got snow troopers. Now, one thing that I don't like is that, like, his voice, it reminds me of those AI Star Wars videos. He's not up, he's not down, he's just the same.
Well,
And
of
it
course,
just
because he's
sounds like-
recording it from, hundreds of
know.
miles away from.
I know that. But to me, from a voice direction, you'd be like, okay, we need a little more out of you
Well,
than
they don't have
we'll
Andrea
take out every
Romano
bad
helping
guy
out with
in your
this.
blah blah blah. We'll
Yeah.
take out every bad guy that you want in your deck of cards. It just sounds so AI. Like,
Well, because they don't have an Andrea Romano helping
Super
out with the
monitor.
voice direction.
yeah. All right. Let's see here.
Why snow troopers? Where's the
I
snow?
don't
About revenge.
know.
It's about preventing another war.
Strap in.
I mean, I just We obviously see
Ah,
we
no,
have
his helmet came off. He broke all the rules.
Yep,
He's got to
yep,
go back
yep.
and cleanse himself
Well,
on Mandalore again.
he needs to cleanse himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka is what he needs to do. But
You know what? In my opinion, he just needs to go visit Crystal Lake. Come on, man.
You will suffer. And then it will be his turn.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor.
do you think that by them removing the helmet was Pedro Pascal's way of saying, if I'm going to be in this movie, I need some face time?
Of course, absolutely,
Yeah, has to.
125%.
Yeah.
It's why Sylvester Stallone messed up the Judge Dredd movie by having the helmet off so much, and Carl Urban fixed it by always keeping the damn helmet on.
What
right?
do you think?
It is
Oh,
pure.
for sure.
It's pure freaking ego that happens.
What do you think about this? The Babu Fricks and Grogu in this little motorcycle with a sidecar speeder.
Toys, man. Toys.
That's all this. It's not. Grogu's not even a character.
It's not even for kids'
It's
toys.
It's a toy. It's not even a character. He has no characteristics.
It's adult collectible, oohs and ahs and fuzzy feelings from the parents, because the kids probably don't give a flip about any of this stuff.
There's no character here.
There isn't.
Right?
The Grogu is devoid of character for a reason, so that you can self-insert your character onto them.
So weird.
Right? And yeah, it is
People
weird.
live centuries beyond me. I won't always be around to protect him.
Are you scared? You should be.
Do we run? Or do
I
we
mean,
fight?
I like this kid.
I hate that they put Zeb in there.
Yeah, that Zeb from Star Wars Rebels right here. A lot of people actually dug that character. I
dug the character too.
A ton. He's fine.
I dug the character. Why is he here?
I mean, I guess he's part of the. See, this is what makes it so weird, because it's like, is he part of the New Republic? Is he part of the Resistance? Like, I don't really know. I mean, this is New Republic territory right here.
And Mendoza's got it, man. A video game. It's a fetch quest.
Yeah.
And fine. I mean, you can tell a good story from that, but
watch this.
What are you waiting for?
They just threw that doll across the set.
okay, I have a question here.
Yep.
Who has a baby stroller that has warp speed? I'm sorry. I mean, you want to protect your kid, but what kind of G-forces are you putting on your baby when the fucking thing hits warp speed?
But again, I know people are going to tell me, they're going to say, but just turn your brain off. But this is really...
But I can't turn my brain off.
So I guess my thing for this is that, is this just a 2-hour season 4?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, essentially, this is Jon Favreau's last attempt to tell a decent story. So can he tell a decent story with all this stuff? Maybe yes, maybe no.
Stanley.
We'll find out. Is it going to catch on? I don't think so. But Jon Favreau is done with Disney after this film.
Yeah, it
and unless they offer
his...
him a whole lot more money, unless they renegotiate a contract, this is the last thing that he will do for Disney, Star Wars, whatever.
I have a question for you after this is over.
Okay.
Let's save the rest for after dinner.
Okay. What makes more money, this or Supergirl?
Mando and Grogu is going to make more money than Supergirl.
You think so?
I think by significant amounts.
I don't know.
So there's so much apathy over DC and such a disinterest in Supergirl in particular because they're like, who the fuck
You're
is
right,
Supergirl?
by the
And
way.
this has more affinity. More people remember season 1 and 2 than they remember the bad shit. And they're like, hey, this is still Star Wars. Hey, if they watch this trailer, they're going to say, there's enough there for me to be interested in this. If they watch the Super Bowl trailer, they're like, what the fuck is this nonsense? But if they see this one, they're going to say, there's enough there that I want to, I'm actually engaged and I want to see what story they want to tell because I love Star Wars. I love Mandalorians. I love Yoda. I love Baby Yoda. So
I'm gonna see it. Like I'm gonna see it. Like I already know that.
Right,
I don't
course.
know that I'm gonna see Supergirl.
Yeah,
You know, I may resort to other means to see Supergirl. I mean,
Sure.
I'm just not gonna lie to you. Okay.
And Todd, see, the only thing I'll say about your comment there is yet.
There's
no hype yet.
I
know
don't
they're
that it's gonna
trying.
get any.
I don't know that it's going to get any either, but they could pull something off magical. I don't know, but I think people are disenfranchised with the crazy drunk bitch that was in Superman, and they're like, "Fuck this! I don't give a fuck." And then every trailer and everything that's come out for the Supergirl movie hasn't engaged anyone, and the reason is they haven't focused enough on Lobo. Because if they were just making trailers of Lobo, people would be like, "Hey, I want to see it for Lobo."
I get it. I
And
don't
that's the
think
only reason I
anybody-
want to see the Supergirl movies. I want to see Jason Momoa as Lobo because that is the role he was born to play, for lack of a better term.
I don't think at this point they've shown anything that would endear Supergirl to a fan base. I don't think there's anybody out there going, hell yeah, that Supergirl, man, she seems so cool. Like, I can't wait to see what she gets into. You know, it's like, there's been nothing.
Nothing. There's nothing to engage people with. She's a drunk, annoying, complaining person.
Well, and we got plenty of those on Earth.
And her biggest complaint is Superman sees the best in people. I see the reality. And it's like,
just shit on Superman some more.
Just shit on and shit on humanity and shit on yourself as being a nihilistic, narcissistic bitch. And nobody wants to see that. Everybody's done with bitch pudding at this point. Come on.
You're right. And look, maybe they will pull something out. Maybe they'll find a way to market. Do a hard, full court press marketing campaign to get you to like this character. But so far, what they've done with her, no, they have not. And it's amazing, actually, that I have not seen the phrase "Remember, Pop loved Superman" show.
Yeah.
It hasn't been here tonight. I didn't love it. I liked it. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. Goofy, but look, Eric, my bad. Look, I would not worry too much about seeing Superman. I don't think you need to go out and see it. Supergirl, look, I at this point, it's like, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. But Mandalorian Grogu, I will see it. I think it's a terrible movie title. I think they could have been
stupid movie title.
Something creative. I think that's an absolutely awful title. And I'm curious to see if people that didn't watch the show, how they come into a movie like this.
Yeah.
And how the movie itself treats people coming in because it's a Star Wars movie, people that don't have Disney Plus, they don't care about Disney Plus or any of that jazz, but they'll go see a Star Wars movie, where they come in and where they land on this film.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm really curious about how they do that, because essentially you have to reset season 1 for the audience who hasn't seen the TV show. Right. I mean, and that's the thing with movies is not TV. You can't translate that. Right.
And you don't have a lot of time to flesh it out either, man.
You don't. And the TV audience is not the movie audience. The movie audience is not necessarily the TV audience.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're banking on too many things that aren't realistic in
Um,
terms of how they're counting on the fan base or people to react to this stuff.
I mean, and yeah, Todd. I mean, yeah, it's kind of the wolf and cub kind of thing. I mean, it's you can call it
Lone
the
Wolf and Cub is amazing, and
unintentional father figure,
well, Lone Wolf and Cub
babysitter.
is amazing. And if they had done that with the Mando story, I would have been happy with it. But at the point at which he passes off this retarded baby who can't develop in 50 fucking years
It's
to Luke
it's
Skywalker,
just not good.
well, it's not a good premise. Number one.
No.
Number two, once he passes him off to Luke Skywalker, that's it. Now he can go be himself. He can be the bounty hunter, and there's so many underworld stories that you could have told with that. But now you've gone back to Lone Wolf and Cub. And if this is Lone Wolf and Cub, the movie, okay, maybe interesting. If it takes place before he gets dropped off at Luke's place, fine. Before the
Yeah.
Razor Crest is destroyed, fine.
They can't go back on that though, and that's the problem. He's now saddled with this kid, to put
Yeah.
it bluntly, and I think we needed more time with the Mandalorian before they introduced the Grogu character, and most
Yep.
people still know him as Baby fucking Yoda. So like it's
People refuse to call him Grogu because they're like,
they
here's
don't
Baby
even
Yoda.
remember it or know it. It's just Baby
Yeah.
Yoda to them, and I
Yep.
think that's a severe misstep. Okay, let's get into it right here.
Yeah, not giving him a name from the beginning forced people to
Right.
create their own name, and and their own name has overtaken anything that they could do at that point.
Yeah. So this is Samba TV's their ratings February 2nd to the 8th, 2026. And as you can see, the number one show for them and trending upwards was A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Beyond that, Lincoln Lawyer, season 4, The Pit, season 2. Some of you may be watching Bridgerton, season 4, go kind of trending downward.
Hey, Dark Winds came back. I'm watching Dark Winds. That's still a good show.
Okay. Fallout season 2, as of the first week of February, roughly was holding steady at number 5, which I still like. I know a lot of the fans have issues with it. I'm not finding as many issues as they are, and I'm a pretty hardcore Fallout fan, but nonetheless, as you kind of look down this list of the Wrecking Crew, the Traders, His and Hers, all in different seasons. The one thing I think that agreed upon that is word of mouth has been building steadily for the last several weeks, 7 weeks or so, has been A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, season 1. And I think word of mouth has done so much for this show, Matthew. I think that as more and more people caught on,
Weekly
as more and more
releases,
people
baby. Weekly releases.
Right. Now, I do agree with Gary from Nerdrotic. I do think this is going to be a great binge watch.
Absolutely. Because you got 30-minute episodes, great binge watch.
Right.
But if it wasn't weekly release, that word of mouth would have fucking been over with.
And I gotta say, like, and kind of look on the thumbnail, it's like, why aren't you watching, these shows or whatever? And this was one of those shows. Now, this show actually is getting viewership. People are tuning in to this show. It's the hottest thing on HBO. Another thumbnail I put, or another part of that thumbnail, was Primal, which I've been talking about for weeks now. I think everybody should dig into that show. If you're in this sphere, if you like what we talk about, you're into the fantasy, you're into shows like Night of the Seven Kingdoms, you're into Fallout, you're into Star Wars, I think Primal is right up your alley. And you don't even have to listen to any terrible dialogue because it barely has any.
There's no dialogue. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
But to talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the penultimate episode, okay, the next to last episode showed Sunday night. And we've talked about this show for the last several weeks. We've kept up with it. We've talked about, per episode. We maybe have not talked about per episode. What did you think about this most recent episode? For those that have watched it, there's going to be some spoiler territory here for those that haven't, and if you intend on watching it, I don't know that this will ruin anything for you, but it may very well. But I just want you to be aware.
So,
Okay.
so I will say, if you've read the book, this isn't going to be a surprise per se. If you haven't read the book or read the graphic novel, there's some stuff that happens here that is so significant to the entire realm in this one episode. This episode is incredibly intense. It has some of the best choreographed battle scenes that you're going to see, and it's in a fight of the seven on seven, right? But if you've been following along, if you haven't seen any of it, we're going to be definitely spoiling stuff. We're going to spoil stuff. If you have seen this episode, if you haven't seen this episode, so we're going to be talking about this episode now. So that's up to you guys. I loved this episode so much. There's a flashback scene that I was worried about, but it adds so much context to it, and what happens in the story makes sense and is a logical outcome, and it solidifies the character development that happens moving forward. And then what happens at the very end of the episode, a lot of people thought that they were going to wait to the last episode to do this, but what happens at the very end of this episode is so crucial to the development of Dunk as a knight, as who he will become as one of the greatest knights in the entire realm in this story. It's such a great episode for all the stuff that happens.
So what did you feel about the flashback? So one of the complaints about this episode is that we've been built up to this 7-on-7 fight that's going to happen because Dunk laid hands on royalty. And so there's been a challenge. A 7-on-7 fight hasn't happened in like 140 years in this timeline of Game of Thrones universe. The last one that happened, 13 out of the 14 people died. Doesn't mean that people have to die in this type of battle, but that's just
Right.
what happened. So we're led up to this fight. We start out with the fight, and our main character, Dunk, is kind of shell-shocked at what's happening. He doesn't get started. He can't get started. He's just sitting there on his horse. He's freaking out. He's hyperventilating, right?
But this is storytelling at its best, because we have already set up in the past that Egg has taken the horse and trained the horse for jousting, because he knows that his lord, his master, is going to have to joust at some point. So he trains the horse for jousting, so that when he gets in the situation, Dunk freaks out, but the horse says it's time to fucking go. So the horse goes, right? And so you've had this develop through the storyline, and you see why and how things happen. And then you get set up, and fucking hell, he takes a lance in his fucking side.
Right off the bat, he gets
Right
stuck
off
with
the
a
bat.
lance.
He gets stuck with a lance, and it goes right through him. And Jesus, you're like, this guy's fucking dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But Dunk is a fucking tank,
Right.
and he gets up and continues to go eventually. But because he gets unhorsed and knocked down, and you're like, oh fuck! And then we go into a flashback scene.
So the flashback takes us back to when he was a kid. He's living in Flea Bottom, which is at King's Landing. And, things are never good in Flea Bottom, right? It's the poorest of the poor. People basically are able to get away with murder.
Yeah,
in
we
Flea Bottom.
we don't entirely know that it's Flea Bottom yet, per se, because
you're right.
we start the flashback, and he's a young man, and we assume it's Dunk, and we're not sure, but we see this kid, and he starts looting bodies on a battlefield.
Right.
And he finds this man, and he starts looting the area, and all of a sudden he becomes conscious, and he's awake. And he's like, what the fuck do I do? This guy's awake. And then he thinks about doing something humane here. I can smother this man and let him die because he's not going to survive this.
Yeah.
And then he gets pulled off by this girl saying, hey, we can, do something with this guy. Let's try and save him, and we can ransom him, and blah, 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 whatever. They can make money off this guy.
Teeth. Does he have
whatever.
Copper tooth?
Well, that's later. That's later. Because at first it's like, we can ransom him and make money if he lives. We can save this knight's life. We can save this knight's life. And then they try, and he fucking dies, of course, like he was supposed to, like he was going to always. Right. Then she's like, oh, well, check his teeth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because now that he's dead, okay, loot him for everything he's got. But while he was alive, and there was potential for it, but what Dunk understood from the beginning was, there isn't hope for this man. He's going to die. I might as well smother him, because it's just going to be a lot of pain for him up until the point that he dies.
And he's also, he mentions that he's never seen someone die like that.
Of course, yeah, because that's in battle, and that's a whole lot of pain and suffering that happened there. Yeah.
But we see him as a younger kid, just trying to get along. He's with this chick who is, and by all intents and purposes, a shitty influence.
Well, she looks like a Dornish girl too.
She does look Dornish. And as 610 Yojo Daddy says, I just watched last night episode, and it was great so far. Blown away that I like Game of Thrones story again. That's what a lot of people are saying.
In the background, we see what we can assume, if you know from history, that is King's Landing. So then we know, and we also, if we take into context and know the history, you understand that this is the Battle of the Red Grass Field, right? So this is the first Blackfire Rebellion.
Right.
This is how it was put down. This is how it was ended. It was ended right at King's Landing, or near King's Landing, enough so that then we understand, okay, this is Dunk. This is another street urchin that he's hanging out with as he's wandering the streets of Flea Bottom in King's Landing. So this is, if you understand Game of Thrones lore, you understand this. Otherwise, you don't, and you just see these kids looting this body, and you assume it's a flashback from Dunk's youth, and you don't understand the full context of it, but there's a lot of context there.
Well, and also at the same time, I think for people coming into it that maybe don't know the context or know the story, it's just a simple, like, this is obviously was a battlefield. This is a guy who was fighting, who is trapped under his horse. He's dying. And you just get the visual of, like, poor kids trying to make a living by trying to find something to sell, trying to survive.
Yep.
And so even if you don't know the history, even if you don't know the whole backstory of what's happening, it's still a good scene just to give you the background of this character.
Absolutely.
And where he came from.
It shows his character through all of it. If you dissect it and look at it and think about it, yes, it shows his true character and nature as wanting to be helpful, wanting to be useful, but also being very pragmatic about things, and like, look, I mean, he's not going to survive.
Well, also too, and as we kind of go beyond that and just talk about just the flashback in particular at this point, as it goes along, the girl that he's kind of tagging along with, she's reckless, but I guess not unlike probably a lot of people in Flea Bottom or at that point, or at least as far as just, hey, steal this, take this, sell, sell this. You're kind of living on the edge.
I would say she is an opportunist.
Right.
If she finds an opportunity, she's going to try and exploit it.
Correct. But you can also see within it that Dunk also still is, like, not really comfortable with
Yes.
most of her decisions. Like it's
Right.
just not in his nature.
Yeah.
His mother has gone for whatever reason, and even he thinks she might come back for him. When
But
it's
he knows she's dead, but
Right.
he's still thinking maybe she's not.
maybe she's not, and that gets brought up just in the simple fact that like it's contemplated about trying to get out of where they're at, go to another free city, go somewhere else where things might be better. It could be better. I think the girl that he's running around with is pretty. She's set on like hey, we can go somewhere, we can get out of here, make our own way. And I think Doug probably is like, what he says it. He's like, what if it's all shit? What
Yeah,
if everywhere we go is like this?
I think he's taking a more pragmatic approach to
Right.
the situation, and she is potentially more of a dreamer, thinking that there
Right.
has to be something better.
So within this flashback, there is also an antagonist within it. There's kind of this
Gold cloak.
gold cloak, surly guy's missing a hand.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
I
and
mean,
he
we
obviously
quickly
has
understand that this guy's a scumbag,
right.
and that he's a gold cloak, so he's in charge of enforcing the king's law
See,
in this area, and that he doesn't enforce the law so much as he is the law. Whatever he says goes, because whatever he wants to make up is what's going to be believed, because he's a knight and he's a gold cloak.
Yes, but it just tells you that like the gold cloaks can pretty much do anything they want, and get away with it. He has it out for them. They're able to come across some stuff. They get some coin, and then there's kind of a whole thing about the girl stealing from him his flask from the gold cloak, that that it's going to come back to haunt her. It's so obvious within the episode.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to haunt her.
Well, she steals the flask because she wants to do the counting coup thing. She wants to say, "Hey, I one up this guy."
Right.
And Dunk is more like I said, pragmatic. He's well aware. Look, this guy controls this area. We have to deal with this guy. We might as well placate him a little bit so that we can survive in this world. And she's like, fuck that dude. I'm going to steal his fucking flask.
And that ends up where, he is looking for them.
Yeah.
Catches up to them. She's able to kind of, talk her way through it a little bit, getting threatened, so to speak. But ultimately, then she decides to take.
Wait, hold on a second.
Okay.
Don't we have Arlen come out here first?
Not yet, because doesn't she steal his knife first, and then that's what causes him to slit her throat, and then they're attacking Dunk at the same time.
But you're missing the whole thing. He confronts the kids, and he starts beating the shit and trying to get the girl for the fucking flask that she doesn't have anymore, because he asks for it and she doesn't have it because she said she sold it, but she didn't.
He grabs her bag of coin.
And she grabs the bag of coin.
No, he grabs her bag of coin.
Right. Yeah. And they have this conflict in this fight, and Dunk steps in to stop him from hurting her. And Arlen comes out because he's fucking his whore. And then he comes out and bashes this guy and is struggling because he's fucking drunk, but he's still trying to draw a sword and fight this guy and get this guy off of the kid, because he's beating this kid for no reason. And then they get away from that situation, and then that's when she steals the dagger and runs off, and then that's when they finally catch up and fucking he slits her throat.
Yeah, the Dunk's little friend, this girl, she ends up paying for her stupidity,
Yeah,
which
and
is thinking
she's
that
dumb.
she can continually antagonize this guy and one up this guy, and think
because
she can get
Arlen
away
basically made the situation unattainable for the Gold Cloak at that point. Because
Right.
now you have a knight who's engaged with this, and he was going to let him go, and he let him go. But as they let him go, she steals the dagger.
Right. And so as soon as that happens, then the Gold Cloak asshole comes after her.
Yep.
And then basically is like, that's it. And he
That's
cuts
it.
her throat. And so you have a scene where Dunk is, watches her bleed out. But he is also getting attacked. And then Arlen, who ends up becoming, the knight that he follows around Squires for. This is the first time, this is like the first couple meetings that they have. They don't know each other. They don't have words. But Arlen ends up saving him and ends up killing both of the Gold Cloaks that were involved in this fight and in killing the little girl. But Dunk sits there and watches her die with her throat slit. And so you have this very, poignant scene of him seeing the repercussions of her actions.
Yeah.
Which he's tried to kind of not want to do, right? He's tried to be the voice of reason. And, she ends up paying for her actions, which is that
and then you see Dunk, and he's trying to contemplate what's going on. He's looking out his little hovels, the place where they sleep, and then he sees Arlen, and he makes a decision, and he starts just following Arlen, and traveling on through the verse as it is, hiding in the background, but always being nearby, until one day Arlen gets so drunk as he's singing in Dothraki, falls asleep on top of his knife, and he wakes up having stabbed himself with his own knife because he slept on it, and wondering what the hell's going on. And then he sees this kid, and the kid just fucking collapses, and because he's got pneumonia from following this guy and staying away from the fire and always be in the background and getting sicker and drinking shitty water that he vomits up right away because it's not a clean water source. And
Dunk is a kid, like this is the guy that basically saved him.
Yeah.
And so he's got nothing left where he's at. His friend is dead. He's really got nothing left. His mother's not coming back for him. So he follows this knight who is a absolute wreck of a person.
Yeah.
But he follows him just across the countryside, through paths, through bushes, across, creeks and rivers and whatever. But, he also is sleeping outside. He's sleeping under the elements. He's sleeping in the rain. He's passing out from exhaustion. And you're right. Sir Arlen has probably noticed him back there, but just decides it's not made plain. But to me, it's like he probably knows this kid has been following him, but he just doesn't recognize it. He doesn't say anything to him. He doesn't. And he wakes up, Sir Arlen, after passing out. He wakes up, and you're right. He finds Dunk basically.
He wakes up with a wound in his side that he's got to deal with, and then he sees this kid.
Yeah.
And the kid just falls over. Right in the middle of the path.
He's out of it. And so we go back to the beginning of the fight, and what I want to do with that is we transition, because the last thing we see, well, not the last thing, but Sir Arlen says to Dunk as a kid, he looks at him over the top of him, and he tells him to get up.
Get up.
And
then boom, we're back in the battle.
We're back in the battle because Dunk had been knocked down. He's got the lance at his side. He's been hyperventilating at the beginning. He's totally out of sorts. He's been hit, and he's on the ground. And you get great shots from a first-person perspective of what it's like to be in his helmet. And he hears "get up," and then he wakes up, or we back to the fight. We snap back to the fight. And it's brutal, but we don't get to see the whole fight from every person's perspective. We don't really get to see the other 12 combatants for the most part. It is kind of a first person perspective, or just focusing on Duncan in this battle. And a lot of people were kind of disappointed. They wanted to see this big battle. They wanted to see all these people riding horses or hitting each other. And unfortunately, the show doesn't have that kind of budget. That's why there's a bunch of fog in this scene, because they actually didn't even have the budget to film a big battle scene.
But they kind of still did, because they still showed a lot of this that has happened. They showed Lionel Baratheon battling. They showed the Targaryen battling each other. The Targaryens battling each other. So
I think it's fine. I think it works from the perspective of, like, yes, this is self-contained. It also is, the main focus is a couple of characters.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to have this big battle. I didn't need to see all these other characters that we've barely even met. Just a couple of them, really.
You see some of the White Cloaks being dragged off because they got beaten down.
Right.
And we knew the strategy that they would protect the dragon, but they can't attack another dragon. And so that's why the dragons were fighting each other. And that's why we see potentially some combat between the two brothers that are beating the crap out of each other for a minute.
You get a flash of a couple of the Targaryens kind of, in combat. But the main focus is Duncan with Arryn, and who is the one who's challenged him to this fight. And it's brutal. Duncan gets stabbed several times.
So many times.
As a matter of fact, for me, I kind of started to think, like, okay, like, how many how many stabs can a person take? His eye is swollen shut. His helmet gets hit by a freaking, flail, or flail rather. He's so it's brutal. It's brutal. And he's getting his ass beat.
Yeah.
And at one point, getting beat so badly, in fact, he is able to cut the inner thigh of Arryn Targaryen, but he gets beat so badly that he slumps over to the point where everybody thinks he's dead.
Yeah.
And it's really a good scene.
Yeah.
And so there is someone who is basically your person who calls the whole thing off. If the person, that's involved, that is facing the accusations, if that person dies, then, it's over.
Yep.
And so this guy's about to blow a horn signaling that the fight is over. And this is where Egg, like the actor, he starts out very proper. He's sir, get up, sir.
Yeah.
Get up, sir. And then it grows to where it's like, he's more and more urgent. Now he's really screaming, really yelling for him to get up. And, and then I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but we get a couple more flashbacks to Duncan with Sir Arlen, and kind of a bit more of his journey of following him around and learning from him and being trained, and also kind of, a little combat, a little here and there with him.
We see a bit about that, but yeah, I mean, the main part of it is, okay, now he's in this battle, and he's got to finish this guy. And he's been stabbed, he's been skewered, he's been everything else.
Yeah.
And he's a freaking tank, and this proves that he's a tank. But basically, he takes his mass and he overwhelms him, and he smashes him. He takes his shield, and he's getting ready to freaking kill him, and he stops.
Yes, Duncan he does overwhelm Arryn. He actually does overwhelm the Targaryen that he's fighting. He wakes up. He does get up after being slumped over. Young Egg is like, wait, because he sees him blink. So they don't blow the horn. He gets up. He actually does continue. He gets the strength up, and then he overtakes the Targaryen, and it ends up forcing him to, rescind.
Yeah. So he beats the shit out of him.
Oh yeah.
And right before he's getting ready to fucking kill him.
Yes.
He knows he's going to kill him, and he stops.
Yep.
And he picks this motherfucker up and drags him up to the front and says, say it. And he says he yields, he withdraws his accusation, and then they blow the horn and stop the battle. So that it's over, it's done with. All accusations have been withdrawn because there were 2 accusations. The one was withdrew at the very beginning, essentially, and then he still fought, but we didn't get to see that in this story, but he fought, and then he got knocked down and he stayed down. And then finally the second accusation was withdrawn. And so then the fight stops, and Dunk's first reaction is, did anybody die?
Right.
So he's worried about all the people that helped him and who of them didn't survive this.
And we learned a couple right off the bat.
The Fossaways died. The Fossaways died
charge.
in the first charge.
Yeah.
And then Baelor comes in.
And of course, Baelor is the hand to the Targaryen king. He is also the brother of the heir, the first heir to the throne, who is also the father of Young Egg. And Baelor chose to fight with Duncan because he realizes that he's a good knight. And and unfortunately, we have a really neat scene where as Baylor's talking to Duncan, and he's saying, hey, we need more good knights like you, and Dunk pledges his fealty and says, hey,
this is really important here. Dunk is a hedge knight, and he doesn't want to be associated with anybody in particular, but this man sacrificed everything and saved his life, and he can't do anything but say, I am your man.
Right.
I am yours forever. And then Baelor says that he feels a little funny.
My hand feels like wood.
My hand feels like wood. And he's going like this. And they're like, oh, they get the armorer and say, get his armor off.
Get his helmet off.
Get it. Well, yeah. And so they're like, it's been bashed in, and we don't know what to do. And so in the book, it's very graphic. In the graphic novel, it's somewhat graphic, not too bad. In this, I thought it was tame compared to the other descriptions I've seen of this, because they take his helmet off, and in the book and everything else,
you can hear it too when they take his helmet off.
You can hear it, yes, but I still say it's less graphic than what they describe in the books, because they're like, his brain freaking is exposed and part of it falls out.
Yeah, I think it says something
helmet.
about you see like red or whatever, and
Yeah.
then you see like gray,
see
and
the
then you
gray.
see like white.
Yeah, the gray and white that comes out with it.
So basically, he mentions that his brother, is strong. He's a good warrior, and he gave him a good smack in the head with his mace.
Yeah. So here's the thing that isn't described in the TV show at all. Okay. Baelor did not have a set of armor.
Okay.
And so he's using
Oh, yes.
his son's armor, essentially, which is too small for him to wear because he's a large man. And so this can have contributed to the reason why he actually died, because if he was wearing his helm, it probably would have survived this.
Because the helm is very tight.
It's
on
very
him
tight
in the show. They don't.
Yeah.
You're right. They don't say it. They don't even hint at it. However,
But in the
it
books,
is very
is
tight when they
yeah,
take his helmet off.
because it's not his armor, and they didn't do a
Right.
very good job of explaining that that's not his armor. He had to borrow someone else's armor.
Yes, and
And
but it is it's pretty brutal because obviously he's kind of staggering around. They take his helmet off. You see the armor, and then the other kid, and they're like just staring at the back of his head, and they're like,
yeah,
And then we see him turn to the side, and the back of his head practically is like missing.
it's gone.
It's been bashed
It's gone.
in, is what's happened.
Yeah,
But it's literally like it looks like somebody who has a deformed back of their head. There's nothing there. It's like,
right.
and then he falls back and he dies.
Yep.
And he dies, and Duncan is holding him, right? He's holding him, if I remember
No,
correctly.
no,
I thought he
no.
was holding him when he died. I thought he was holding him.
Well,
or
he
looking
comes over
him.
there
Yeah.
because he had backed up, and then he was caught by the armor, and then
Right,
lowered
that's
down to the
right.
ground,
Yeah,
and then he went
yeah.
over.
So
Yeah.
he went over to look. So he watches this guy die who literally saved his life.
He's literally saved his life, and now the prophecy has come true. The prophecy that was told from the bar, or for the tavern,
From the
inn.
lady. From
Yep.
the
From the Targaryen,
Yes.
the Targaryen in the inn, who said, "I've seen you before, and you have a dead dragon on you. I want nothing to do with you," and tries to run away. And that's why he makes up the whole story. And he didn't want to fight, and he fell off the thing because he knows he doesn't want to be that dragon. But the prophecy comes true. A dragon died on top of Dunk, but Dunk survived. And this is how it happened, because he was an ally, and the ally was killed. And now he has this great weight to lift off of himself, as this dragon meant so much to him and the realm, and now he's gone. And in the laws and parlance of the time, it was fair combat. It was an accident. It wasn't something that was meant to happen because his brother killed him.
And I think leading into the final episode, I think this was a good penultimate episode. I think
Yes.
it
Excellent.
obviously lived up to what they are supposed to do, and especially
Absolutely.
historically with this universe.
Yeah.
Leading into this next episode, I think we're going to see him, Dunk, dealing with the guilt, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, this all has come about mainly from the fact that, obviously his actions of protecting the puppeteer, but then Egg, squiring for him, but lying to him, actually
Yeah.
him not knowing who he was.
Right.
So dealing with all that guilt, if you've watched the trailer for the next episode, you obviously know what's to come. But yeah, good episode overall. It lived up to it. I don't think we needed some giant battle to watch. We didn't need a battle of the bastards, right? We didn't need a hard home. We didn't need any of that stuff. It worked on that level because this is a story about these two characters mainly. And I thought it was just fine. I was very good.
No,
These
it was great.
actors are fantastic. And
Absolutely.
if you're not watching the show and you don't mind spoilers, like a couple people mentioned earlier, then go watch it. It's like 25-minute episodes.
This one was a little bit longer. This one,
but ultimately, these are not hour long.
Right.
These are not hour and 10 minutes. These are not 58 minutes. These are relatively short episodes that you can get through and binge this show, and you're gonna like it. It's very good.
So well done.
And obviously people are watching this show. It again, as I mentioned earlier, word of mouth has definitely helped it. A good thing for HBO, that's for sure. Of course, right now they're in the middle of possibly a hostile takeover. We'll see how that goes. But let's see. Let's put you there, buddy. But yeah, it's worth your time. The episodes are not terribly long, and it's got good characters, good acting, good writing, and it is fun. Even though this particular episode was a difficult episode in some respects, at the end of the day, it's still a hopeful show. It's a funny show. It has some good, good kind of laughs in there, and and if you're a fan of the Game of Thrones universe, then I think you're going to get some of the references, and you're gonna catch some of the names that they throw out there, and understand the time period and what's going on at the time period, and if you're not, maybe it'll inspire you to look into it and want to read up and research more into it, so you understand it more. That's what happened to me. Um,
I I I don't know. I think Dunk's decisions affect Egg, and that's why Egg stays around with him. But Egg guides his naivete, right? He controls the
yeah,
naivete aspect of the character because he has this idealistic vision of the way things should work, and Egg is like, that's not the way it actually works. And so, morally speaking, I think Dunk affects Egg more than Egg affects Dunk. But in the world we live in, Egg is educating Dunk on this is the way things actually work as they go forward.
right.
Um, because, and that's what draws Egg to Dunk, is because he has a moral compass that he has never seen before.
Yeah, no, yeah. You got to imagine this kid. He's seen the worst,
Yes.
right? The worst
and
of people.
and pure decadence and pure power hungry madness.
Right.
He has seen all of this depravity and he has turned away from it. And this is why he's turned away from it, because he was looking for somebody like Dunk, and then he found Dunk, and Dunk is this he's this penultimate idealistic
He's a paragon
person.
of virtue. He's
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's something that Egg is rarely seen, probably.
Yes.
Except out of his uncle, and even then, maybe wasn't shown because his uncle never had the opportunity to show that until now.
Yep.
That's
And-
very possible.
And if you know your history and if you are familiar with things, you know that no matter what happens in this show, it is extremely important that Dunk knights Barristan Selmead, one of the other greatest knights of the Seven
Right.
Kingdoms. And who does Barristan Selmead knight? Jaime Lannister.
Jamie Lannister, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great, and as Jojo Daddy says, feel like the character building, maybe even more so the relatability, is the reason the storytelling is so good.
Yeah.
I think also too the ability to pull back and not have to juggle so many characters, houses, and scenes, settings also helps. They can focus, they can narrow that focus, and I think that helps telling the story.
Yeah, but I mean we have Highgarden, we've got the dragons, we've got the Fossaways, we've got the Baratheons. So I mean we've got a lot of houses involved with this stuff.
But we don't have like where all of a sudden we're cutting scene and going to their castle.
Right.
We're not going to other two
Yep.
people on the road traveling together. This is
Yep.
very centric on these characters. There are obviously, yes, other names, other people who are central characters in the overall scheme,
Right.
but they've kept it lean and tight.
Yep.
And focused where we need to be. And I think that's what has really done this show a service.
Yep.
Rather than bouncing to here, to there, to Theon's cock.
Here
So,
to there to everywhere. What about Arlen's cock? I mean, that was pretty impressive.
Jesus Christ. That's some funny shit. That thing is like a foot long. It's ridiculous. It's great. It's bigger than that. Very impressive. I was impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the actor's also very charming. The interviews too. I know you've seen those interviews like we have. Those are very funny. There is some spoilers, so to speak, for the world that have been dropped, supposedly. But just watching them get on with each other during their little interviews and little things they're doing and stuff has been a pleasure. And they obviously have great chemistry together.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully we'll carry them on into the next couple seasons.
Absolutely.
That's what we're going to get.
And 110% right here, as whatever happened to Jaime Lannister in those last 2 seasons was a fucking abomination.
It's a
because his
disservice.
character development up until those last 2 seasons was
Christ.
absolutely phenomenal, and he is one of the greatest
shame.
knights of the realm also.
Yep.
But they fucking blew it with what they did to him in those last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
so
it is a
100%.
shame. I agree, and man, damn.
Just don't watch those last 2 seasons.
What could have been? Well,
have been.
That's what happened when you have 2 people who actually aren't that talented.
Yeah.
Have no dialogue from the books to rely on, and
Yep.
no settings and scenes from the books to rely on, and they have to create. When they have to create their art, they obviously were not very good at it.
And
and by the way,
we haven't really seen them since.
yeah, no, and I don't think you're going to.
Nope.
Yeah. So, yeah, and 3-star. Look, I'll see you tomorrow on Sevens Wild. Let you guys know that's where I will be tomorrow night on 3-star Draws channel at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Sevens Wild. We're going to be talking about Toy Fair and giving our views on the releases, pre-orders, and all that good stuff tomorrow night. I'd say that's probably about it for us as well. It is midnight Central Time, and it's time to get you on your way and time for me to get on my way, man. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate
always.
you. Watch Seven Kingdoms. It's a Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Great.
It's a great show. Just check it out. You don't have to have any previous knowledge. That was not me.
And off of my recommendation, please go check out Fallout. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. If you don't like it, I get it. If you do like it, I hope you like it. Maybe it'll inspire you to play the games. If you like the games, maybe
Hey, you know what? I think they're gonna really screw the pooch in season 3. They did a
not gonna argue with that.
Pretty fair job of messing things up in season 2.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
No, I look, I'm with you. Not gonna argue with that. But you guys, let me know what you think about it. I enjoy it. It is funny. It's goofy, but I have been getting a kick out of it. But there are things I'd like to change as well. But at the very least, a show I can guarantee you're going to like is Primal. So, Primal,
check it out, guys.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Check those out 100%. And they're easy watches, and you can binge the hell out of them. So,
yep.
But, yeah, man. Okay, well, that's it for us. You know where to find Matthew, Action Figure Blog, Mammy's Action Figure Blog on Instagram.
Posting every day.
You know what he does. Check out the pictures. And you know where to find me on here. And I guess we'll be back next week. I will be doing a Sunday night this week. I don't have my son this upcoming week, but he's not out of school on Monday. So I will be back to do an unfiltered. But yeah, man, we'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll see what else is cooking in pop culture, Hollywood, and all that good stuff, man. We really appreciate you guys hanging out. And until next week, we'll see you then. Appreciate it.